Hey everybody, this is Drew,
And this is Blake.
and you're listening to the Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Controllers podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 130. For those who have been listening for a while, you know what it is. Basically, every episode that ends in zero, we have ourselves a guest, and it's pretty awesome. We have a returning guest all the way back from episode 50. I'll be honest, I looked at the date when we put that episode out was August 8th, 2021. That's been over 3 years.
Wow.
So, that's pretty cool. A lot of life changes and stuff we'll chit chat about. But I'd like to introduce our returning friend and guest, musician,
Right.
frontman, producer, songwriter, lead guitarist for the band Emerge, the guys who do our intro song, our buddy Jared.
What's up, guys? Happy to be back. Thanks for asking me.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think the last time we had a chance to talk, 'cause everybody's lives are busy, is we literally saw you at a headline show in Chattanooga, and all the way back then, how long ago was that? The
Yeah,
Chattanooga show at what's that place called? The Barrel House.
was
Man,
that 20 was that the beginning of 2023?
I have
I
no
think it might have
idea.
been. It
Yeah,
was
I
I
don't
think
remember.
that's
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
been a
think
while.
that's
it was cold.
yeah,
I
that
think it
was
was
a
cold
while.
when we
Yep,
started.
Yeah.
almost 2 years ago because that would have
Yeah,
been February.
and
Yeah.
all the way back then, because I don't know what we doing on the podcast. All the way back then, you asked about coming back on. We're like, oh hell yeah, for sure, buddy. Let's figure out when and crap like that. And then like freaking time just freaking zips on by, and here we are.
Yeah.
We finally got it together to have you on here again.
Well, I'm glad you guys asked me, man, because I love doing this kind of thing and
Yeah. Do you
podcasts and
actually?
talking about games and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Do you actually get to have you got to do? I think when we asked you originally on the episode 50, 10 years ago, I don't think had you done any other podcasts back then? Blake
No,
listened to the episode again.
We didn't even ask.
Didn't even ask.
yeah,
So have you done any other podcasts?
I'm trying to remember. I don't think I've done any other podcasts. I've done like, radio interview kind of
Oh,
things, which are
that's pretty
sort of
That's
a
almost the same
similar
thing.
kind
similar
of
vibe
format where it's
probably.
just a conversation, but
Are those
uh
live like on the air? No,
no.
not really.
Well, I'm trying to think. I think every one I've ever done has been pre-recorded.
Hmm.
There's one where I can't remember for sure if it was live because we actually went in there like at night. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to the local Buzz
Yeah, we do
on
occasionally.
Morgantown
Yeah.
the Buzz.
Hmm.
Yeah, but like back in the day, they used to like have bands come in and actually do interviews, and I think they might do it
Like
every
unplugged
now
or
and
something.
then.
They used to have them come on and like talk, and then they'll like play like an
Or like an
acoustic song or
acoustic
something
song,
like
like
that.
Yeah,
exclusive.
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Back when the buzz used
So
to be better.
yeah, we did that one time though, and I know we did an interview with Andy, but I don't think it was live. It was
Forever
like
ago.
5 years ago though. It
Oh
may have
yeah.
been longer. Actually, I think it was 6 or 7. I don't remember, but
It's like
yeah.
That might have been closer when I don't know when the first album come out. I don't know when so it would have been closer to that. Has it been that many
It
years
w
since?
It would have been
New-
so first EP came out in 2016, but our album came out in 2019. So I can't remember if it was around that time or if it
Surely
was
you were doing interviews and stuff when that any kind of
yeah, I mean
any time you can get to do publish promote the album. Yeah.
yeah, I mean I know when that was coming out, I was like reaching out to everybody I
Yeah.
could, any radio station that was willing to talk in Chattanooga or Clarksville or Nashville.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I was doing a lot of that. But I love
It's
this kind of thing though. I mean, my buddy and I have been talking about trying to do our own
yeah.
podcast,
we
just
did
talking
talk
about
about
I
that.
think did we dabble in that?
We dabbled in that briefly. Said your buddy talked about doing like just a musical podcast about like
yeah.
behind the scenes and stuff. And have y'all made any steps towards that?
Well, so I actually what I was talking about at that point, it probably would have just been kind of like a dream scenario kind of thing that a friend
Hmm.
and I had, just briefly talked about. But I have another guy now, who used to have his own podcast. And so recently I was like, dude, like you already know how to do that side of things, which I don't,
You got the
really.
equipment. I mean, the
Yeah,
hardest
like
the two
you got
things
that side down.
is well, a couple of things like having equipment, having
Hmm.
some sort of idea what you want to do, and then the last thing is the hardest part is just doing it.
Yeah, just doing it.
Yeah.
Even now, like as far as we're in, we luckily have our schedule now, so it's easy. It was the starting, and then like some days Blake's taught me into like keep going, keep making the podcast and keep going and just keep doing it and stuff. Like he kind of talks me into that.
Hmm.
So every what 6 months or so, I'm just like, oh man, just tired of like talking about video games on this podcast. Or like I've gotten real bad at like we're supposed to like take notes. I was like, we're going to take notes, make a better podcast, and I was like 3 months into that, I'm like, okay, I'm done taking notes. I hate taking notes about video games that I'm playing. I'm out of notes. And Blake's like, I'll
Yeah.
keep making notes. It's fine. So like it's like, but the main thing is like you said, equipment, an idea. It's hard to have a unique. Our idea is not unique. The closest thing we have is we don't normally talk about AAA video games. So
Mhm.
our podcast is like
More niche stuff.
doomed to be niche because we play so much that it's just about the random crap we find on Game Pass and GameFly and stuff like that. And every now and then we'll talk about like we had a big episode about Death Stranding and stuff like that. So we'll get into that kind of stuff. But like if you have an idea and like you have an inside voice for the
Mhm.
industry, your music side. So I mean, maybe I don't know. I mean, there's probably a podcast about that. But you're probably with your buddy. The thing would be find a cool ideas or some unique thing to talk about. And then the
Or even
hardest
your
thing
journey.
I think, but for you though, like I say, getting started is the hardest thing for you. Like back when you first started Emerge, like you've already started something that takes so much effort and so much work. So I feel like
Gosh.
getting
Yeah.
started for a podcast isn't a big leap for you. I
Yeah.
feel like.
And I think there are a lot of similarities in having a having a band that starts locally and
Hmm.
starts small and has that, and then also starting a podcast because you're doing a lot of the same things. You're
It's all,
distributing,
all
whether you're
audio.
distributing the music or the audio, yeah, from the podcast. And so yeah, I mean it's just like working your way from the ground up to
Yeah.
something.
And
So
no,
And
yeah, I guess that's a
you have your Emerge audience to kind of buffer you for a pod. Like if you tell your Emerge audience that you're starting a podcast talking about music,
mhm.
guarantee all of them are listening to that podcast.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, man. Well, you guys are encouraging me even more to do it, so I'm gonna have to take
It took me when
our last guest actually, Clyde.
our last guest we had on last time was our buddy Clyde who pushed us to start a podcast. He's why we have a
Mm,
podcast. He was our first guest and he just
mhm.
returned last episode to talk about his life, and he started a brand new YouTube channel, and he was like he's so supportive and so nice and so great. And then
Mhm.
that's
Love
all it
Clyde.
really takes is he pushed us. This podcast, we always tell him you're the granddaddy of our podcast. And he gets like awkward, like okay, that's weird. But I was like, dude, you're the guy. Like this we're not a big podcast. We're just two dudes that like talking about video games. But like this, all the 130 episodes wouldn't exist if that guy didn't push us. Be like, hey, do the thing, buddies. Come on, just do
Yeah.
the thing. And we're like, okay, we'll get the microphones and other bullshit, and we'll just do the thing. And here we are.
Mhm.
We're not
Yeah.
making any money off this, but we're having a good time and talking to him, talking to you, and anybody else we could talk to about video games and stuff. And then here you are.
Yeah, and that's
I
what it's
mean,
all about.
Do you
yeah,
think
it's
we
the meeting
Yeah.
people and talking to folks. We probably should do guests more. We do guests every 10 episodes. Maybe the podcast would be better if we did more guests, but it's hard to we've had some complete strangers come on that Blake's found on the internet. Not bad people, of
yeah,
course.
really
We've
good
met,
people.
randoms who play video games, other streamers, video game streamers and stuff like that. Those are cool. You meet people and then you feel bad because you don't kind of because the world moves so fast. Even like with you, like we don't really stay. It's hard to stay connected with all these different people. So like you
Right.
support their streams and you talk to them once every 4 months or some crap, and then you feel bad. But I don't know. It's like a whole thing. I'm rambling now about making podcasts.
No, that's good though, man.
But yeah,
I
if
need
we
the
can encourage you to
encouragement.
do something, we're saying do it. I mean,
Yeah.
because you're not going to stop making music. So we know we're going to get more music. We'd also like to get a cool podcast on the side of all
Yeah.
that music.
And the cool thing
Why?
is you can also dictate your own schedule. Like, let's just do one a month.
Mhm.
We'll sit down for 2 hours once a month and call it a day. That's all you got to
Yeah,
do.
that's true.
You do whatever you want. You can do like, hey, this podcast is 30 minutes once a month. That's all we have time for, and that's it. That's what happens. And
And
you
then you could bank them.
Yeah.
If you actually do get lucky enough to get together more than once, just bank them and be like, oh, cool. We got
And
3 months
spread
of
them
stuff
out.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or you hit it because I want to talk. We'll talk about your because y'all had some big shows this past year. So if you hit like a good tour and then you're like we have a lot to talk about. So now the podcast has more episodes and blah. These are the we have a whole lot of tour stuff to talk about. So like I mean I don't
Or
know
even one
what
cool
do we know
thing,
about making podcasts.
No,
bring
yeah,
record
hey,
with
a
you. You
lot,
sit
a lot more
down
than
and
you give
you like,
yourself credit
hey,
for.
Yeah.
you sit down with one of the
We get
bands.
excited about that kind of stuff. We get excited about like making stuff for the podcast or doing art for the podcast, or like we're trying to get some more of a YouTube thing kind of going. Cause like we're recording we stream with our cousin. We're trying to put that on YouTube. We're trying to do more for the podcast. Everything
Mhm.
just involves doing more work for
Right.
something we're not getting paid for. But like, it's just like, it's fun to like think about things to do, you know.
Yeah.
You give your buddy and y'all just sit for a little while and powwow. You'll get excited. You'll get pumped and you'll want to do something.
Right.
And the other cool thing is you make friends with some of the guys you're touring with, some of the bands, and you're like, hey, you want to sit down for 30 minutes and chit chat with some of my our listeners? And they're like, yeah, you get 30 minutes with like the front man from this band or the lead guitarist from that band, and further reach.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be like a goal is to have,
Mhm.
other musicians, like
Yeah.
national musicians, local musicians, regional musicians, producers, like promoters, like people from
You
all over
It would
that
be
we
so sorry. It'd be so easy. You'd be surprised how many people, like Blake said, he's like, "Hey man, can you sit with me for like 30 minutes, record something for my podcast?" I bet you'll get more yeses than nos.
Yeah, and the thing is that like a lot of people nowadays are open to like any and every opportunity,
Exactly.
and like it's whether whatever we do or don't end up doing, like whether it reaches 3 people an episode or 30 people an episode or
That's how we are.
300 or whatever, that's
Whoever
still new
listens.
people to, yeah, that's still new people for somebody
Hmm.
to promote themselves to. So
Yeah.
you don't ever want to turn anything down when it gives you an opportunity
Oh,
to,
come on. Yeah.
meet
Yeah.
people or chat with people, or it's like what we were talking about before the podcast with, like getting free getting free food from somewhere because you make buddies with the person working there,
Ain't
Yeah.
nothing wrong with
It's-
that. Shoot.
Yeah.
yeah,
Those connections.
yeah,
It don't take much, like, especially nowadays. It literally like the only free thing you could do nowadays is just be nice to somebody. And that's it.
yes,
All you have to do is be nice
exactly.
to somebody, and you'd be surprised how much that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, well, I mean, if it's simple, perfect example, we made friends with you at a show, freaking however many. Me and my wife met you, God knows, was that the Otherwise show?
Back in like
How many years
2018
ago
or
was
something.
that?
yeah, I think
We
it was
met you.
2018
So
probably.
y'all opened for Otherwise forever ago. Made friends there. Then we've been to like 5 or 6 of your shows now. But
Mhm.
anyway, that just kind of led to a small thing of even one day me asking, "Hey man, can we use one of your songs for the intro to our podcast?" And
Yeah,
as simple as you're
which
like, "Sure, man, no problem. Whatever
Which, by
song
the
you
way,
want."
like is the coolest thing ever. Like I was telling my buddy the other day, the one that I've talked about with, doing a
Yeah,
podcast with, and I was telling him, like that I was going to be on y'all's podcast again, and I was like, yeah, and they actually use, like one of the songs,
yeah.
as
Letting
their
go.
intro music, and he was like, dude, that's the coolest thing, and I
Yeah,
was
and
like,
letting go is like the perfect little like the way it played. Like you probably you know the song,
the
so it's
way it
like
starts out, yeah,
the first 30 seconds of Letting Go is like perfect. And unfortunately, like I know it's good you play guitar because like it comes up as it comes up, and when it comes back down, it fades out before you start singing. So like I didn't want any vocals in the intro, so it kind
right.
of fades out. But at least you're on the guitar and stuff like that. But it's like it has a perfect come up and it kind of comes back down. It's like a
Comes back
perfect
down, yeah.
intro. It's just
And
That
really
is,
cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny, like we, I really, that's a long intro and a long song
30 seconds is a long
general.
time for anybody
And
to
I
start singing.
remember, and I remember like when I was writing that song and like we were trying to determine how that intro was going to be arranged and recorded, there was a
Yeah.
lot of back and forth between uh, my brother, the drummer,
Mhm.
and Will, our bass player at the time, about just like whether we included that bass part that comes in before the drums and the guitar, or whether
Oh,
that's
that's
not
cool.
there, or so
It's funny how
that
much y'all
that's
discussed it. That's so cool.
oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Yes. And then that's a song that we haven't played that song live. I mean, I guess probably in 5 years.
Yeah, you mentioned it
We
because you mentioned at the show when we saw you, your headline on Chattanooga, you said you couldn't play it because it was on a different setting for all your guitars. So you couldn't
yeah,
even
yeah, yeah. It
it
was
would
a
have
different
taken a
tuning
whole
than
yeah, it would take a whole freaking shift just to play the song. We're like, ah man, it's cool. It's whatever. It'd been cool to hear it, but like we didn't know it take a whole different tuning. We don't know nothing about
yeah,
music. So
I didn't get to
yeah,
hear Coward
so
though.
oh,
this
yeah,
will
yeah,
get
you did
yeah.
play Coward, yeah.
Coward was
Yeah, oh
dope.
yeah, we play Coward pretty much every show, but yeah, I can get nerdy about all that stuff for a second if you guys don't
Oh,
mind.
have at it, man. That's why you're on here.
We so we just played a show in Knoxville, and Letting Go was actually one of the shows. Like a friend that we've made in Knoxville that's been to a few of our shows there this year. He that was one of the songs he asked, like, you guys gonna play Letting Go? And I met him at the show afterwards, and I was like, man, I wish we could, but we there's a couple reasons. Like, so one,
Okay.
that song, it is really long, but I still really I mean, I still really like the song, but that's one of the songs that we had written and were playing for years before we ever actually recorded it or released that album.
Oh, really?
So by the
Okay.
time the album came out, half
Sick
the
of it.
band was already tired of the song,
That's
you
funny.
know? And then we had a lot of other newer songs to play, and so I was like, okay, we'll play those. But when it comes to the tunings, I mean, we use throughout all of the songs we have 5 or 6 different tunings.
Yep.
There's like 4 primary tunings that we use, and then a couple just kind of variations of those. But I always thought that kind of thing was cool, when I was growing up and writing music, because a lot of the
Hmm.
bands that I listen to use a bunch of weird tunings.
Hmm.
And so I was like, okay, I'll do it myself. But then I never thought about the logistics of that and having to switch guitars. And if you only have a 30-minute set or something like that, and you're having to bring 3 or 4 guitars, um, the good news about all that is that now we've switched over, instead of using live amps, we use like the digital stuff. So
Cool.
we can actually just press a button and change
See,
the tuning.
didn't even know that existed. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible stuff. We were against it for a long time because we really were old school and
Yeah,
liked the
gotta
amp.
stay analog. I want to touch it,
Yes, exactly. But this stuff sounds so good now. But really, what it was is we were doing enough shows where we were traveling out of state that
Hmm.
we were like, man, it's like to carry all that stuff means that you have to bring a bigger vehicle and you have to bring a trailer, and it
And you
just
got to
makes
pay for
everything
it.
more.
You got to pay to move it.
Exactly, it
Well,
makes everything more
logistics alone.
complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
say,
we switched from bringing, an amplifier that's, halfway up my body and, 200 pounds to just bringing a pedal board. So,
That's really
and then
cool.
it just plugs straight into the front of the house. And then,
So the different, so you just you always see people on in concerts hitting the different pedals. Is that all they're doing? Is they're just changing they're like live changing their tunings by hitting the pedals, or does the pedals do other
well,
stuff as well for
the
guitars?
pedals do all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
All kinds of
we're
stuff.
done
You
when
can
it
have
comes to
delay
music.
pedals. I mean,
Mhm.
wah pedals, flangers. I mean, they're literally every weird sound that you hear a guitar player do. I mean, it could be controlled by a pedal, but what I have has everything in one. So it's got all the sounds. It's got the amp sounds. It can detune the guitars. Like, so it's a pretty incredible tool.
Awesome.
But anyway, so now it makes it easier to play a song like that. But the issue is that I don't know if you guys know this because we never like really formally like announced it or anything, but my brother who started the band with me, our drummer, he
Mhm.
left the band. So
Like recently?
so he was
Oh
playing
man.
with us at that last
Yeah.
show that you guys saw us
Yeah,
at
for
their
sure. Yeah.
house. And then he played most of the shows throughout the rest of
And
last year
he's the drummer on the
on
Album.
A New
every on
Divide, the
yeah,
album, everything.
on everything, man.
Okay.
I mean, he and I started the band like in our
Yeah.
bedroom at our parents' house,
Mhm.
years and years ago. So he left, and we've been fortunate enough to, to make friends with enough great drummers in Nashville that we've had guys play with us throughout
Mhm.
this year, and they'll be playing with us next year. And we now have a primary drummer. But
Yeah.
with that
You
being
ain't gotta make any
said,
now.
like,
You ain't gotta make any announcements on here. It's cool. We're not the hot
oh,
take podcast. You say
oh
whatever
no
you
no
want to
no no
say.
no! It's not like it's not a secret or anything like that. I say all that to say, because we've been in such like a kind of like not revolving door, but like moving through different drummers, and
Mhm.
sometimes you only have a couple weeks to rehearse for this set, and sometimes you only have this much time because there's so many moving parts, and half the band still lives in Chattanooga. That's just one of those songs that we haven't rehearsed.
At
Like
all.
that's the simplest answer. We haven't played that. So we haven't physically sat down with anybody and relearned that song with a new
Yeah.
drummer yet.
So
You said that,
But
and it
was
gets
your
longer. You're
did
like,
your
let's try
brother
to keep it a little shorter so it's something you can memorize easier.
did your
yeah, no
brother yeah,
kidding.
did your brother do the recording for Alive Again, like the official release
He
for it? He
did.
did. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So we recorded Alive Again. We recorded the drums. Actually, I'll give you guys some insight. We did a year ago. We went back to the
Mhm.
studio where we recorded our album, and we recorded 2 new songs that aren't released yet. And then we recorded the drums for Alive Again because we had Alive Again already written. And at this point, Jeff was kind of like, yeah, like I'm out, and so I was like, dude, please just, we're here. Like we've got the time, the drums, the drum kit set up, just record
Please
those
just record this
drums.
for us.
So yeah, so he recorded the drums for that, and I loved how they turned out. And then we recorded the rest of the music afterwards. So there are at least two other recorded finished songs that will have his drumming
that
on
he's
it.
part on. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, one of them hopefully should be coming out. I
Yeah.
don't know. Hopefully early next year.
Cool. Yeah, we're gonna ask about new music at some point. We didn't want to like
Mhm.
like
Bum rush it or
yeah
anything.
Oh no,
push
yeah, you
everything
guys
out.
can anything and everything. You
Yeah,
guys can ask whatever.
we didn't want to like sneak in. We're not trying to catch like a ooh, here's a new thing coming out. We're
Oh
just
no, man,
we're-
I'll let you guys.
so
You know,
you got two songs. You got two songs. Have you played it? Have you played the two new songs
Any
at
of them
all?
live?
we have actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think we played both of them at Barrel House. Actually, yeah, we did. We played both of them at Barrel House.
God, it was so long ago. I remember the show mostly, but I remember you did a a Seven Dust cover because you're the only
Yep.
band I know that does Seven Dust covers, which is so cool.
And oh my god,
That's cool. I
Did you
love, I
do a
freaking love Seven Dust, so it's cool as hell.
when it
Yeah,
fueled
we did too.
hemorrhage?
Oh,
We did
you,
Hemorrhage,
you did
yeah.
Hemorrhage that night too.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. That was one of our first times doing Hemorrhage, I think, but we now do that at every show.
I'm
pretty
sure
much.
Good
I'm
ass
sure that
song.
song pops off though, but the crowd's
It
like,
it
"Ooh,
does.
shit."
It's like it's funny because you've got some guys in the band that are like, it's kind of like it's kind of boring to play or this, that, or the other. And
Of
I'm
course.
like, guys,
But
It's
wait
fun
for
for
the
you
I
though.
crowd.
don't care how boring it is to play. The people that are at these shows, if they don't know us, they know that song.
Yeah.
And to be able to play that song early in the set and then have, half the crowd singing it back to you, I'm like, that's,
You're like that's like
it's
that,
worth
that's like
playing
that
that song,
vampire
man.
addiction you get.
Yes, but that too, that's one of my favorite songs of all time. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite
Well,
bands.
I love Fuel. I don't know if they even have the same
I don't think they're the same frontman anymore.
They don't.
he came back and left again and came back and left again. I know that, but I still listen to those first three albums.
Oh, they're great.
I
Man,
forget
are
you
they
did
good.
another
First band I ever saw live, Fuel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
a teenager, so I was like, "This is awesome." It was
Oh man.
outside by the river, and that what was it
that
called? They did the
Riverfront.
Riverfront. They did shows on the river in Nashville, and it was like Fuel and some
Oh,
other
Riverfront
band,
Park?
Riverfront Park in Nashville.
was that like early? Was that like around 2000?
Fuel was still around, so it was early. Yeah,
Man.
all three albums were out. They weren't doing any new music. So it was
Oh, okay.
before I can't remember his
Before
name.
Brett.
Brett, yeah, before Brett
Before
had
Brett
left.
quit the
So it was
band.
like nothing past the third album, but like he hadn't left yet, and it was on the river, and that's the band that I was like, gotta go see. That was I was young, I was a
Wasn't that the
teenager.
same? No, you went and saw like a Buzz Fest with that dude with John, and that was the first place you ever saw Seven Dust too. Was like a Buzz Fest.
That was at
Um,
that was a big arena at where
Was that Starwood?
it's Starwood. Starwood's gone now, but it was at
It's
Starwood when I
Starwood.
saw Seven Dust.
mm,
Yeah, but
man.
that first band, it always holds a special place in my heart because Fuel was like the first thing I ever saw, and I still love those first three albums. I've listened to the other stuff, but it kind of never because even with like the main guys, like is it Carl Bell who like plays
Yeah.
guitar?
He's a songwriter.
He's tried his best to like hold it all together, but it's just like it kind of you can't catch that old. Even when Brett came back, I think he did like another album, Skeletons or something.
Yeah,
that
Brett did a Puppet Strings. Yeah, Brett did an album without
puppet strings, yeah, and
without
it's like
Carl.
it just didn't catch I mean, I like some of the songs, it just didn't catch that old vibe. Like there was like that perfect window of those first three albums, especially that the second album that's the hot one. But I
Yeah.
like the first album,
Like,
Sunburn.
Oh,
God,
it's
Yeah.
untitled. No, it's called Sunburn. That first song's
Yeah,
untitled.
Sunburn.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
Sunburn's.
Jesus
Yeah,
or a Gun
I love
and
it.
Shimmer.
yeah,
I-
man.
I love
Mm.
I love their fourth album, the first
Natural
one
Selection?
without
No,
Brett.
Yeah, I need to listen to it
Angels
again.
Angels and Demons. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not Brett, but it's
Still good.
good. It does sound a little bit. It sounds a little bit different than the
Yeah.
other Fuel sound.
Well,
It's a little bit
you change
darker,
vocalists, and you're gonna have a big shift in
but
sound, probably.
man, it's got good songs on it though.
I need to
Like
listen to it again.
yeah, like if you can get over the fact that it's not Brett singing, I mean, it's some
Some
of Carl Bell's best songs, I think.
Sometimes like that, I feel like it's best almost like I kind of
Pretend
wish
it's a different band.
pretends that when you listen to it, like this
Sure.
isn't Fuel. This is just me enjoying a new band.
Yeah,
I kind of
Well,
wish I know it's hard for a band to be like they couldn't like lose Brett and be like we used to be Fuel, so we're this name now. That doesn't
We're
work.
refueled.
We're Refuel, but it doesn't
that
work
was
the
a
same.
that was a thing though. That's what he tried to
Oh,
tried to do.
really?
You guys remember- Was that just a joke? Yeah, no. In like
That was just a
2000
joke.
in like 2009, when Carl Bell still had Fuel.
He owned the
Uh,
rights to the name or something, didn't he?
Yeah,
Did he
so
own the
Carl
rights?
Carl Bell, as far as I know, like I think he owns things. I
He
think
is Fuel. Whether
Yeah,
he-
yeah. I mean, I think when Brett quit, Brett like quit, and Carl, retained things. So
Get this, the Fuel podcast. Here we go. This is what your
yeah,
podcast
oh,
should be
man.
about, dude. This is exactly
Yes,
what your
just
podcast
Fuel,
should
the
be.
inside,
This is the taste.
yeah, man, inside story. No, but I think like Carl still had Fuel, and then I remember because it was around Christmas time and 2008 or 2009 or something. And I remember getting on the internet and Brett Skyens announced that he was launching a band called Refueled, and he
Oh
was going
God,
to go
I think I
back out
remember
there
that.
as
But
Fuel, but while Carl still had Fuel, and I don't know what happened, but
it had
ultimately,
to be awkward because if Carl would own the name, he probably owned the song. So Brett would be walking a fine line trying to sing Fuel songs and not get,
ulti-
yeah.
yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't know what
Like
happened,
we're
but the
refueled, the
Refueled
fuel
thing
cover
never.
band.
Yeah, Fuel cover band with the original singer, but no, that never ended up like, as far as I know, they never played any shows. It just ended up being
Remember?
like Brett got, Brett started playing as Fuel again. Carl was no longer in Fuel, and then Brett did that for a while, and then Carl
Mm.
came back. So I don't know. I still love that band though. I saw him a few times this year, and actually like got to meet Carl Bell and talk to him and ask him, like
He's a I don't
questions.
know the technicalities of guitar, but he makes some. I
Mhm.
think he plays some wicked guitar.
Oh man, he's like, and yeah, he's such a great songwriter too. I mean, anybody
Mhm.
that can write like hard rock songs, but also write songs that crossed over into like 90s alternative and stuff, like a lot
Yeah,
of those,
they're like one of the
Sunburst and
I feel like like you said like the early 2000s, they're like the premier like alternative rock. Like they were like the band for a while, and they like
yeah.
made a sound that was just like people are like,
Mhm.
oh, it's just like radio rock. I mean, they say the same thing about like Breaking Benjamin and stuff. I was like, say what you will, man, those freaking songs were good.
No, man, those songs were great. All that stuff is. I don't. That's all I mean, that I listen to all that stuff, man. Those are my
Even like,
favorites.
I guess I don't want to label, but like Emerge is kind of like an alternative rock metal kind of band. Like
Oh
that's kind of
yeah,
like the kind of sound y'all fall into. It's the bands you love and the kind of sound you fall into.
it is
Literally,
for sure.
yeah, you play Hemorrhage and you play Seven Dust. These are like the bands that you grew up on and love, and kind of where your sound follows. It's your inspiration. So
Yeah, and I think sometimes like our the weird thing about us is that musically like some of our music definitely leans more towards metal and like some of the
mhm,
drumming too, because we
yeah,
do have those influences. But at the end of the day, I mean, our favorite bands are Breaking Benjamin, Seven Dust, Alter Bridge,
yeah.
Fuel,
Y'all I was
Disturbed.
y'all do tend to lean heavy. Like you're probably heavier than anything Fuel has done
Yeah,
more often than not. Yeah,
we
like I'm
definitely
just as a
lean more towards
yeah
like the Seven Dust kind of thing. So
yeah for
I'm
sure.
trying to get
You're
Out
getting
of
in
the
blinded like
sun right in
position
your
for the
mofo.
sun.
face.
Yeah, I've got this window right here that's just
There you go, killing
really
you.
there we go. There we go. Cool.
If you need to
Sweet.
take a moment to like put like a blanket or something up, you can. I don't
Oh
know.
Yeah,
man,
shit.
no, I'm realizing because I was on a Zoom call for work not long ago, and I was like, man, I didn't realize that the sun came in this window like this. Um, but yeah,
That's
no, I
awesome.
just need to get some curtains.
Get some blackout curtains. We that was one
Uh,
of the first things we bought in this house. If you
Yeah,
see
no,
behind
I've got them
Drew,
in.
he has like these
you,
awesome.
yeah, you get these at freaking
Oh,
Lowe's, man.
oh
Here,
yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
yeah.
this is prime podcast content. I don't know what they're
Yes.
made of, but they attach and they just lift like this.
Oh, that's good.
And they come
Yeah,
back.
They just come back down.
$50 at Lowe's. They're in every window in our house.
They cut out the
Well,
light good.
Like, and yeah, you're
that
not getting
might
any light from me.
be,
So
yeah, that might be what I need to get then.
there you go.
Yeah, getting podcast tips and shade tips.
Here we
It
go.
works, man, and it
Uh,
keeps out the heat and stuff too.
Uh-huh.
so I guess I said before we started the podcast, we're going to talk about
Now
video
let's keep
games.
talking about.
I think we're going to skip that because
We'll get to it
the
eventually.
music,
Yeah, we
this
can talk.
music stuff is just too good. Like I love the stuff about because we missed like I don't know if we had Letting Go on the podcast for, so you gave us a little insight to Letting Go. That was fun. Um,
I'm over
but
here thinking about what my first concert was, and not
you know,
counting Charlie Wayne and and all them. I think the first concert I remember was also Riverfront Park, and it was Crossfade and Seether.
Oh, man.
ain't Crossfade coming back or trying
It
to?
was
Oh yeah,
Crossfade and Seether.
So
they're
that
back,
singer man
man.
got real bad into drugs.
They're cute. They're back though, man. They're playing a couple of the festivals, and I'm hoping they do something else.
Some new music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so I guess we could pivot a little bit. Y'all had I guess time. I don't know the timing of it all, but y'all had a pretty good, pretty busy year with some shows y'all were doing, open for some big bands. So, I don't know if you got any stories you want to talk about your experience for the past year. The Merge did some
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, man,
Where to start, you know?
in more ways than one, like music, just in the band and just in like the shows that I've been able to see, man, 2024 has been like just a awesome
Banger
year.
of a year.
I mean, it's been a very busy year. Like my wife and I bought a house and we
Mhm.
moved, which is why I don't have have
Well,
shades down here yet.
I
But
don't want to interrupt you,
um,
but you weren't married when we recorded the podcast last. You
no, you're
actually
right.
got you proposed like 3 days after the podcast or something like that,
Something
I
like
think. So
yeah, something
congratulations
like
on being
that. Yeah,
married.
thank
Yeah.
you, thank you.
I know
Yeah,
it's
so I
a
got
little late, but it's been 2, 3 years now.
no, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it'll be 3 years in February
Were you
since.
married when we did the podcast, or were you still engaged to Jessica?
Might have been engaged. No, I've only been married for like 2 years now, something like that. You might have got
I
married
don't
before I
even
did,
know.
but
I thought
Hey,
my
well,
I've been
congratulations to you
yeah, I've
too.
been with my woman for 11 years now. So, but we
Yeah.
waited so long to get married.
they only got
Anyway,
married to keep people from asking, "When you go get married? When you
yeah,
go get married?"
so
Just
it's,
ask like
That's a
it's
good
it's
just
reason.
fine.
people.
It's fine.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, man, like we were really lucky to play some great shows.
mhm.
We opened for Saint Asonia,
So cool.
which was, I
I
mean,
haven't seen them live. I know. Adam, we're gonna. I don't want to pivot to it. We know Adam has gone back to 3 Days Grace, but I don't want to.
mhm.
Let's not pivot away from San Estonia yet because I've never got to see them live yet.
Yeah,
I might
yeah.
not if he ain't doing the band anymore. I don't know if he's doing the band anymore.
I think they made a post after he announced that he was back in 3 Days Grace and said that like they wouldn't be finished. So
They
they'll
would be
do.
or wouldn't be.
They wouldn't be.
Wouldn't be
Yeah,
finished. Okay.
they'll keep do. Yeah, they'll keep
Because I
doing
know.
stuff. I don't know when.
God, I don't know his name, but he's the same guitarist as Stain. What's his name?
Mike. Yeah, Mike
Mike. So I
Michaud.
know he's been super busy because Stain's back. You know,
Right.
we could talk about
You-
Stain too. Oh my God! But
No,
like
no, we.
Stain being back is a whole freaking incredible
Yeah.
thing. Let's stay on Emerge. Let's stay.
That's Saint Estonia.
So
San
we
Estonia.
yeah, so the only downside to that show was that Mike Mashak didn't do any of the touring with them this year,
Oh, really?
which was a bummer because
Was he
he's one
with
of my
Was he with Stain? Because Stain's
yeah.
touring. Yeah,
Yeah, he's one of my favorite guitar players, so it would have been really cool to
sick
meet him.
guitarist.
But the coolest story that I have from that is so we played our set or whatever,
Hmm.
and then after we got off, one of my good friends, a couple of my good friends were at the show, and they were standing side stage. And one of them said to me, "Man, Darren watched me bleed. Adam was over there watching you guys play." And I was like, "What?" Like
He's like,
that's
oh my God.
that was really cool. Like I was like, man, I wish that I had just glanced over there because if I had been playing and glanced over there and saw Adam
So Adam just like
Gagne,
watching.
like
Yeah.
watching play because that's you can't see, but I've got some like vinyl records
Hmm.
back here. And one of them is like a signed copy of the first 3 Days Grace album. And so like that was one of the, albums that I remember listening to a ton.
Home, right?
So
Um,
how does it
yeah, yeah.
happen? How does it happen that you find out you're opening for that band?
I mean, I'll tell you, with a lot of stuff in the music industry, it's kind of like what we were talking about before the podcast, with just like meeting people and being nice and being friendly and all about who you know and like putting in the work and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a combination of it, but that was a case of I'm friends with the promoter and kind of asked if they needed a a
A
band,
local opener.
can't be afraid to ask a question. So I asked if they did, and I got pretty lucky that they did need one, and so that's how it happened. But
You could
that
just
was
like slide my name into the hat, or just be like, "Hey, this
yeah,
guy's
yeah.
really good opening." They already have
No,
a.
yeah, I mean it's different every time, I mean, I
Mm.
I think he probably had to go like and get approval from from the band or from their
Mm.
agent or something like that. But I mean, when we found out, that was pretty sweet because that's in terms of like Saint Asonia isn't the biggest band ever, but in terms
They're
of
not,
like
but
rock stars
Adam
and
himself, yeah.
Adam is, and so that was a really big like, man, this is
Probably
like
one of my favorite like lyricist, Adam.
mhm,
Like he is
yeah,
like, man, to do the way he writes songs. I don't know if he
he's
writes all the 3 Days Grace songs. I think he's like the key writer for all their
yeah,
lyrics.
all the classic stuff, yeah.
Yeah, like he was like one of my favorite lyricists, like him,
Because
man.
he was probably one of my favorite shows. We saw him at the Knoxville Civic Center.
Knoxville.
And that's probably one of the best
Best shows
shows.
I ever seen was probably 3 Days Grace at Knoxville. God,
Because
it was so
they played everything
they
you
played
wanted,
freaking everything,
Yeah.
dude.
including the Apocalyptica song.
Yeah, they played what's it called?
Oh,
Damn,
I think at Saint Asonia, I think he actually played that.
he played the Apocalyptica song.
He
Yeah.
did, yeah.
What is that song called?
They play a couple 3 Days Grace songs,
Yeah,
and then they did play that song, and I was like, man, I haven't heard this song in a minute.
it
That's
was really
good.
cool. Such an
What's
amazing
that,
singer,
Life
writer.
Starts Now. I love that damn album.
I like them all.
Yeah.
They're all good, but Life Starts Now, that's just
Mhm.
I know every song in Life Starts
I
Now.
wish the new song I wish the new song had more Adam in it. Maybe what's the new song called?
I don't know.
Mayday.
Mayday. Yeah,
Mayday.
Mayday.
I know they're trying to
Yeah.
like do a half, and it's a bold choice to have both singers stay in 3 Days Grace. It's
Could lead to something new
kind
and
of like a
different.
weird, like a did not see that coming kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
It's
Yeah,
interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what they
the
do
album
with
and
it
see what it does.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
sometimes that can change that dynamic. Can be something, like a breath of fresh air to do something else. Because you look at speaking of something similar to your brother not drumming anymore, a band we really enjoy called Lacuna Coil.
Hmm.
They had a replacement drummer, and their new drummer, unlike their first drummer, knew how to double kick.
More. Yeah.
And
Oh,
so that like they're like we've never had someone who could like really double kick, so that like changed, and they started writing heavier and heavier songs because he could do that. They wanted to utilize that, so
Yeah,
they
they changed their sound to pivot more towards their drummer's abilities, which is what that whole band pivoted to kind
yeah.
of
So I thought
like
that was pretty
for a
oh,
new
cool
that's
member. It
really
was kind of strange.
cool.
Now,
Yeah, yeah,
ironically, I don't like the new sound they're doing, but
as much.
I still love Lacuna Coil.
yeah.
They have like 12 like 10 albums, so
Yeah, they have a
it's fine.
bunch.
Man.
You ever listen to them?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay,
Mhm.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure because there's so much music
So
out there. I didn't know if it's something you
There
had or
is. Yeah,
hadn't.
no, no, no. I'm definitely familiar.
we're pivoting again. So were you I mean there's always a bit of nervousness when playing live in general. Did knowing that kind of
Someone's watching.
that well you didn't know he was watching technically, but knowing you're opening for a band like that, is there an extra layer of anxiety, or you just kind of like focus on like I'm here to play the songs I always play, just keep it cool?
Yeah, it's kind of it's interesting. I typically, if everything has gone well leading up to when we play,
Mhm.
I typically am more excited than I am
There you go.
anxious or nervous. It's pretty rare that I do get nervous about it just because I'm so excited like to go up there.
Just to
What
be there.
Yes, where my nerves start to come into play more is if we're about to play a show and there's no room on stage, and I know that we're
Oh,
all going to be like,
oh yeah.
Like locked
just
in
kind
where
of
you're
like fighting
standing.
for it because we are such like an active band and we try to move around and stuff. So like in my head, I'm thinking, man, we're not going to be able to put on the show that we want to put on because we're going to be locked here. So sometimes that's a thing that'll get in my head a little bit. The other thing is like if you play a show and there's like nobody there, that's when
Yeah.
that's when we're all
You,
like,
you
oh man, like is
you hear
this
those stories though. The best thing they say to do is just like play like you're. It doesn't like you said
play like
earlier. Like whether you have 3 listeners or 1,000 listeners or whatever, you kind of. I know it's easy to say that, but you kind of just
Mhm.
play no matter who's
You're
there.
you're
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah. So yeah, so funny enough, I normally get more nervous when there's less people in the room than
No,
when there's more.
because you can see individual faces now.
Exactly. Yeah. There
Yeah.
it's more like, okay, these guys
And
are
you have
gonna
that
like
one
notice.
guy who's just
Yeah, exactly.
just
Whereas
there.
Arms
like when there's
crossed,
a
just
sea of
watching.
people, you're like, yeah, this is, this is gonna go over.
It's
That's
But
funny.
like you said, you just got to do it. Sometimes the fact that you just keep doing it, you're automatically doing better than 80% of the people who tried because you're still doing it.
oh yeah. Yeah, we just won't I just won't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey. So there's more. If you, I don't
Yeah,
know if you
yeah,
run through your
we
memory. There's more shows. I
yeah,
say
yeah. So
big.
we
Was this all 2020? Because 2024, I feel like was like y'all hit like this like line of. I
we
think
did, yeah.
so. Was
We did a lot. So we did the first half of the year we did Saint Asonia. Really didn't do a lot. We did Saint Asonia and we did Drowning Pool. So we opened for
Drowning. I,
Drowning
see,
Pool
I told
too.
I told Blake I was like I remember I forgot about saying this. I remember like Drowning Pool and I think Saliva.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
the Saliva one
Saliva was at the end of last year, but it's
Oh,
close enough. It was like
close enough? Yeah.
December. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It was
December
the
of
fiscal year.
2023. So that was good though too, man. Saliva, and then we opened for 10 years in that same week.
Love 10 years.
So Saliva in 10 years, and then this year we did Saint Asonia and Drowning Pool. Drowning Pool is really sweet because like I mean that was another band that
Talk about a
every
band that like lost a singer and it's just like stuck it out.
yeah,
They've
yeah,
gone
and
through,
the cool thing about it was, I mean, this is probably a hot take, but my favorite incarnation of Drowning Pool is Drowning Pool with Ryan McCombs from Soil, which is their third
oh yeah.
That
singer.
that is a hot take.
Um,
I
and
like
it,
Soil and I like that. I like his voice.
Ye
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I just like his voice suits really well, and really I like a lot of the songs that they did. I mean, obviously I like Bodies and I like,
Man,
Sinner
dude,
and all those
the
other
thing about the first
classics.
album is Bodies is far from the best song on that album. Bodies is
Oh yeah.
cool, but that's an
Hmm.
incredible freaking rock album that like has
Yeah.
so many better songs that nobody talks about because Bodies is like the hotness. Like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
what a,
No, that's a great album. But I like, so I really like Johnny Poole and Ryan McCombs, and Ryan McCombs is back in the band now. So like we opened
Oh,
for
there you
them at
go.
the perfect time, you know, where like
Oh,
he
there
had
you
been in
go.
the band for a long time, and then he came back and we got to play with him, so that was cool.
Yeah, I didn't. I honestly, I haven't
It's
kept
a little hard to keep up
I
because they
haven't kept
did
track of
switch so
Drowning Pool.
much.
We saw Drowning
Oh,
Pool.
I
We saw
know,
Drowning
yeah.
Pool one time.
Is it the warehouse?
It went at the warehouse in Clarksville,
Oh
and
yeah.
it wasn't Ryan. It was one of the other guys, and I was
Yeah,
just like,
probably the guy that was with them immediately after him.
it just didn't like. I don't want to talk bad about the guy. The vibe, everything just wasn't. We saw some other bands we were there to see open for them. And it was like really cool. And then when they came out, we listened to a couple of songs. It was kind of like, I get it. You know, it's an hour and a
Not the
half
same
drive
thing.
home. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I feel bad. I say that to like a musician, but I was like, you kind of get there and you've heard the bands you want to do. I mean,
No, I
you
hear,
get that.
dude,
Yeah, you
I
get that
get it,
all.
man.
Yeah.
I get it.
And it wasn't like
As we all get older, and especially if you have an hour and a half drive going back, it's like, no, man, I'm ready to go.
Because that's a good venue too. You've been to the warehouse out in Clarksville?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We played there a few times.
Oh, y'all played there? See, we hadn't seen y'all there. Well, we've seen I'm not gonna get into this whole thing.
We've seen a bunch of people there.
One of my favorite things seeing there was Head PE, which is a really
Oh, yeah, Head PE.
kind of a. Have you
Oh,
ever
yeah.
heard of Head PE?
Yeah, yeah. We opened for
Oh.
them one time in Atlanta.
What? That's
Mhm.
dope. Jared,
Long time.
it's funny. His name's Jared too. He's super nice.
Yeah. Yeah, a long time ago. This was maybe like 2015. It was us and then
What a weird pool! I didn't know if anybody really heard of Head PE. And you guys have
No,
opened
yeah,
for
yeah.
them. That
It
is
was
wacky.
It was Head PE and the Veer Union. Do you guys remember that band?
I know. Veer Union.
I've heard of the. I don't listen to them. I listen
They
to
have
Head
like
PE
that one
pretty
really
regularly.
good song Veer Union does. It's
Mhm.
what's that song? I don't even know it
Yeah,
off the top of my
I mean
head.
they got a handful. They have a song called Seasons that was like kind of their hit in the,
Mhm.
2008 kind of era, but then they've got trying to think of what the other one was
It's
that
like
you might
bittersweet,
Bitter
that's
End.
Fuel.
Man,
Boom.
Bitter end, maybe. I don't know.
they're good. They're
That's
good
so
though.
random that you've opened
Yeah.
for Head PE. That is
Yeah, that was a long time.
freaking-
That was like 2015, I think.
Yeah, I know, but still random as hell that I pull that band out of my butt and here you're like, oh yeah, we open for them.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
'cause
it's funny, man. We've had like I don't know, man. Like it's crazy for me to think like about
all the people you've opened for.
man,
and just-
yeah, like just things that I never would have, never would have imagined that we'd be able to do. So some of my favorite bands, we opened for Fuel at the warehouse.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time ago. I mean, so that was like
Was that
was
post?
crazy.
Was that post Brett or was he
No,
back?
Brett was in the
Was there?
band. It was Brett and then the guys that were in that incarnation of Fuel. And so that was cool, because like I remember watching their sound check and there was a moment where Brett was like, what should we play? And like nobody else is in the venue really, but like we're, the band's in there just kind of like loitering around. And it's like, what else should we play? And I yelled out Empty Spaces, which is a deep cut,
Man, yeah.
and they just went right into it, man.
That is sick, dude. What a freaking memory that would be. That's probably my favorite freaking song from that album. Holy
Yes,
shit!
it's so
You
good,
picked the
man.
perfect thing. You
Dude,
got the same
yeah.
vibe for music, I think. That's like that.
Uh-huh.
I would
Yeah.
crap my pants. They played that crap live.
Oh,
like,
man,
especially
it
if
was-
you're like one of like five guys just standing there watching them sound check.
the big puppy dog eyes going, oh my god.
No, yeah, man, it was
What
it
life
was
is
so
this?
Yeah, no, it was just like the kind of thing where it's just like, man, this is really like we're doing this right now. This is.
And that song, that is like kick-ass song. His vocals on that song.
Mhm.
My God, what a song!
It's so good. Yeah, I love it, man. They play it. They still play it live. Like when you
Wow.
go see like this, newer incarnation of Fuel.
Mhm.
Their singer they've got now is great, man. Like Carl, it's Carl and one of their original drummers.
Oh, wow. We'll be back on the Fuel podcast
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, and so yeah, I know, gosh, but yeah, they play a lot of that old stuff. But
Yeah,
anyway,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
we did Drowning Pool, and then we've done a lot of shows over the last few years with Linkin Park tribute called In the End.
Yeah, I want to talk about it at a certain. I want to talk about that.
Linkin Park later.
I want to talk.
Okay,
I want to
cool.
get your opinion on the new album, but let's talk about your In the End shows for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first time we did shows with them was at the end of 2022, and we had never opened for a tribute band before or anything like that, so I didn't really know what to expect. But Linkin Park was my favorite band growing up. Like they were like my
Man.
gateway into
Biggest
that was
band in the world. Come on.
yeah, that was my like the first
So you talked
heavy.
about it. You and your brother had bought Meteora, and you
Yeah,
changed
man,
my
yeah.
life.
You remember it did, yeah, and so like literally like that was the album that really like got me into music and all that. So getting to play like these shows and like we've gotten to become pretty good buddies with these guys and like they are incredible.
So they're doing their best. They're sounding like Linkin Park. That's their jam.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
they're not going out there and like dressing like them and trying to
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's not like a Mark Wahlberg rock star kind of moment. But the sound of it though, I mean, they are like really doing,
Yeah.
like they're doing that as good as anybody is.
Yeah. So
Uh,
when y'all, because I see all your posts, I've never gone to none of these shows. I've missed all these shows because see,
mhm.
you talk about being old, getting older. I don't travel a whole lot from you. Like we went to Chattanooga for y'all's
Yeah,
headlining show, but other than that, like if nobody's playing in Nashville, I'm like,
I know.
eh,
And
you
they've
know,
they've not done Nashville, but I would love to see that.
if they
I mean,
do, I will go because y'all. I seem like you. I don't know. Do y'all always? Because you always post about the in the end shows. I didn't know if
yes,
y'all were always participating.
I mean, knock on wood, anytime they've come to the South, for the most part, there have been like a couple, like maybe like up in like Savannah, Georgia or something where it just hasn't worked out for us to, to be on it. But for the most part over the last couple of years, yeah, we've been on them. And so this year in October, we went all the way up to Illinois and Indiana with them. And then the week after that, we did Atlanta and we did South Carolina. And then next month, we're going to New Orleans and
Oh, in New
Florida.
Orleans. Wow.
Yeah, that'll be our first time going to New Orleans. So,
Wow.
just in general, so like it's kind of cool the first time going
That's
to
really
go
awesome.
play a
So
show. Yeah.
are you as Emerge, are y'all doing Linkin Park covers or you're doing your own stuff or are you mixing it up?
No, no, we just do. So they do all the Linkin Park stuff. We
Okay.
just we just do. It's just an emerge,
So so other
set.
bands, so none of y'all are trying to nobody else, none of the openers are trying to step on their toes and play Linkin
Yeah.
Park songs. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
no, I mean we do it's pretty sweet though, man. Like so we're doing this tour with another Nashville band called Lost Hearts.
Mhm. I'll have to
So
look them up.
it's us, Lost Hearts, and in the end, there's four shows in January, and Lost Hearts, there's one of them right in the middle that's like right outside of Orlando, and Lost Hearts can't do that one. So a Stained tribute just got added to the
Oh,
bill.
sick.
And you guys will have to look them up because like I've been blown away. This was just like 2 days ago, and like I've gone down the
Man,
rabbit hole.
trying to
This
match
guy,
Aaron Lewis's vocals. That's a
dude,
bold move.
I'm telling you right now, he sounds exactly like him. You close your eyes and he sounds exactly like Aaron Lewis. It blew my mind, man. I'll send
That's
you I'll
awesome.
send you a link to it.
Okay, that's awesome.
So like now we're like, man, we get to play with both a Linkin Park and a Stain tribute because what we always do after our set, because we'll open. And so after our set, we'll go down into the pit and like get people rowdy. They're in the Linkin Park, during the Linkin Park stuff. So when they're
Oh
out there
yeah.
playing, Don't Stay or Paper Cut or, any of the heavier classic Linkin Park stuff. And now I'm like, man, we're gonna have to go out there during Stain too. So they're
Get
playing a lot of
rowdy.
older.
Spleen and stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah,
mud shovel.
they've got a video of them playing Spleen, and I'm like, man, if they played Spleen, man, somebody's gonna get
Spleen, I
cracked.
tell you, I got a story for Spleen. Okay, it's an embarrassing story. So I listen to music. I listen to podcasts, but when I was younger, I listened to music in the shower and everything like that, just jamming freaking
Mhm.
in the shower. Spleen in the shower, fucking rocking so hard that only time I've ever hurt my freaking neck in the shower, just fucking just like going for it for Spleen, man. Got out of the
That's
shower.
such
I'm
a
like, I'm like when a teenager probably.
Like
I'm
16,
I'm
17.
like, oh God, I'm walking out of the shower and Blake's like, what happened to you? I was like, dude, it was fucking Spleen, dude. Oh man. Only time I've ever hurt my neck, just like, man, just hitting it.
yeah, man, Jeff and I used to play that song in the bedroom a lot. Like we would, just cover that song. Like, oh,
I don't know if I don't know if
so good.
Stained even plays that song live anymore. I don't even know.
No, I mean they didn't on this last tour. I saw them do it once.
They're coming to Nashville, but man, so
And
here's the thing. So I want to do two things. So one, they're coming to Nashville. They're playing Bridgestone. Tickets are crazy expensive
with Breaking Benjamin.
with Breaking Benjamin. So
Yeah.
my thing, yeah, I feel a thing. I talked to my wife about it. I like bands at smaller venues. I do. Bridgestone, it sucks. But like we've seen Stained at the freaking Cannery.
Yeah,
Talk
we've seen
about a
Stain at
wicked
Canterbury.
show.
Oh, was
It's like
that
a
2000?
buzz fest or something.
Was that
It
like
was a
2015,
long,
2014,
yeah,
2015?
maybe.
Alter Bridge was on that too.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I
It
was there.
was, you're probably there in the crowd
Yeah,
somewhere. So
I
that
was
was
there.
like the
Yeah.
last time I saw Stain. Well, we saw they did one of those digital things
We
during
talked about
COVID.
that last time we did that digital when they
Yeah,
came
that was
back
Oh
cool.
for
But like,
Break
but
man,
the
the
that
best
was
thing I've
Stain.
ever seen for Stain is seeing Stain in the freaking Cannery. Incredible. So we've seen Stain in a small venue. We've seen Breaking Benjamin like 12 times all across small venues, all over freaking
yeah.
Nashville, Memphis, everywhere. So like Stain and Breaking Benjamin and Bridgestone, really expensive tickets. I was like, we got to opt out of this one. We're opting out of it because of that, and because a few weeks before that, we just bought our Lincoln Park tickets for
Mhm.
$600.
We
The
Is
just
that
mo
did.
for? Was that for three
All
tickets or
three
for
of
two tickets?
us,
Yeah,
me,
for
my
me
wife, and my
tickets.
brother, we saw the ticket prices. We're like, no, we're not doing it.
Hmm.
Too high. Me and my wife are driving around. We're listening to the new album. Back and we're driving this album from zero. We get back home one day after the album, and my wife's like, I kind of want to get those tickets. Like, this new album's really good. And I was like, hey, you're freaking kidding me. I was thinking it, but I didn't want to say it because they're so expensive. We've never paid that much for a concert. And bam, we're online buying 600 freaking dollar tickets to Lincoln Park in like what, March of next year.
Hmm.
I don't know if you're, I don't know if
It's
you're
like
trying,
September.
I don't know if you're trying to go or not, if you bought
I
tickets.
Yeah, no, I got tickets. I've got a buddy who is I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. He started Lincoln Park's biggest fan site on like dial-up
Oh,
internet.
wow.
So he is like hardcore. Like it's Lincoln Park Live. They're so big that at one of the shows that they did, one of their reunion shows, like
Mhm.
Shinoda name dropped them. So
Oh,
like
shit.
they're in there. So he is like a massive, massive, massive Linkin Park fan. He's been to every one of the US shows that they've done so far this year. So
This is
like
my first time. Be our first
the
time.
surprise show. Yeah, I only got to see him one time. I saw him in 2008 at Bridgestone. So it
So,
was on
so you, so
the
you saw a
minutes that did
Chester
not.
show then?
I did, yeah. So I was really glad that I got to see that. Otherwise, like, man, I don't know. I'd
I
be
went
pretty
for, I
bummed
tell you,
as most people are that didn't get to see him.
Us.
yeah, we didn't get to see him. So it's funny we talk about. I don't want to dip too much of the Chester stuff, but I was telling my wife when we were on the first conversation of these tickets, I would pay $600 for Chester Lincoln Park. I would,
Yeah.
without a doubt, Chester Lincoln Park. That's not meaning anything mean to Emily, because so as I'm
Yeah.
getting to, and then we go when I've been jamming that album pretty much nonstop. Every car ride, I'm just like, this album's 30 minutes. I'm going to jam from zero. And you
Yeah.
get through that, and and that's when we get to the point where like, I think I will pay $600 for Lincoln Park, like just to
Hmm.
see because she's kicking ass at all the shows. She's doing it. There's still the haters out there, but like I don't know, man. She's got it. She's got the man. Imagine and talk about her. Talk about somebody's life changing overnight.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no
whew.
kidding. I mean, she ended up in the biggest band in the world in some ways. Yeah, I mean they're massive, and what's crazy is that they seem to be bigger now than they ever were.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
Um,
I'm really curious to see it live. Like I think at the end of the day, like especially after having I mean, because I've been living those songs for a very long time, but living those songs even more for the last couple of years because we see in the end do them. And so I mean, and when we're at those shows, like we're in the crowd, like we're watching them every night singing along, and they do a lot of the older stuff, which is really cool. As like a fan of, I mean, I like all Linkin Park,
I have the
but
one. What is it? Is it One More Light? That kind of like I just don't mess
mhm,
with. I don't
the
mess with One
last,
More Light that much. I don't think.
yeah,
But other than everything else
um,
has little pieces and parts you find. Even the stuff that's not full rock albums, you find stuff in there that you're like, okay, this still was really cool. Like they did a really
yeah,
cool thing here. Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Nobody
So
talks about the hunting party. The hunting party's awesome.
Yeah,
I
Hunting Park
like the
was
hunting
pretty dope.
party. I know people that can't stand it, but
Yeah.
I like
I
it.
saw a video the other day of them in San Antonio or something in Emily. They did Keys of the
He's
Kingdom.
the Kingdom. I know.
Man.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great song. I always like that song.
Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
so I'm excited because it does seem like their set list is in some
Everything.
ways
They're
the
doing
set
everything.
list that yeah, in some ways the set lists that they're playing now are better than the set lists that they were playing, before Chester passed.
Yeah. I
They're
think
more
they
they're
might have been locked into so many things. They were like, is a band that big? You're locked. Yeah, we got to hit all the singles, man. We got to hit
yeah,
all the.
they're
But the tour manager's like, you got to hit the singles, man. You got to hit the singles, and just kind of
they're
like
yeah, they're now it's like a good, you know, it's like they know what people want,
it's
because
like
they
obviously
focus a
would have
lot on
never, we probably would have never heard. I mean, I don't know if we will in Nashville, but you would have never heard Keys to the Kingdom in a Lincoln Park show. You would have never heard.
no.
They would have never
But
played that.
That's the first time they ever did play
Oh,
it.
then that show
They
was.
never,
Oh
yeah, they
wow,
never had played it with Chester. So that was the first time that
that's crazy. That is
yeah,
cool though. So cool for
yeah.
everybody.
So I mean, I'm excited to see it. We'll see how it goes. I mean, they were, like I
I
said,
just
they were
lowered
my
my
favorite
chair.
band growing up. One of my favorite bands, the band that got me into everything.
Yeah.
But we'll
Do
see.
you
I don't know. I might see it one time and then be like, okay, I've had my fill, or I might love it and want to go, every
You
time
never
they're there.
know. Like the band we've seen the most live, and you said you opened for them. We've probably It's a toss up. 10 years
I think
probably.
10 years probably the band we because they come
Because
to
10
Nashville all
years
the time.
because 10 years is from Knoxville, so like every
Mhm.
time they tour they come to Nashville, like every time. So like
Yeah.
we every at least once per album cycle we
You
would
see
see
'em.
them live because we just did they're in Nashville. Okay, let's go see 10 years again. Why not? They're incredible.
Because we went to
Yeah.
their
We were at the Feeding the Wolves
Feeding the Wolves
album
album
release.
release.
Oh, wow.
They did an Exit In where they played a bunch of
Yeah.
songs from it and shit like that. It was really cool. They
Oh,
did the
and was it
We
did
read
it
that
come
one
out
too.
was
you
that just
probably-
the week that album came out?
yeah, well they called it the Exit
It was the
In,
release
the
party.
release party they called it. I mean, they just played that. It was like basically a concert. They didn't really do anything like
Anything special?
anything, but they called it the album release.
Well, I think that was the first
thing.
time you could buy the album.
Probably. I think you could get it there.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think because that would have been in 2010 if I'm not mistaken, and I was at an Exit In 10 year.
You've probably
show.
been in all the
Yeah,
freaking
we've
shows.
probably been all
we've
the
been
same
to,
shows
dude.
we
Probably,
have.
we
Dude,
probably been
it's so
crossing
funny,
paths.
man. I've got other friends where we're like, wait a second, we were at that same show. I mean, there's
Exactly.
probably times where we're like standing right next to each other.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
we
I
were
had
probably in a
no
pit
idea.
together and didn't realize it. But yeah, no, I was at an Exit In 10-year show in 2010, so it probably was.
If it was for Feeding the Wolves, we were
It was-
there.
ours was specifically that one was the Feeding the Wolves release party.
You know
That's
what?
one of my
No.
favorite memories of I'm blanking on his name. Oh my god, Jesse is.
Yeah.
Have you caught him live when he dedicates "Beautiful" to all the pretty ladies in the
All the
audience?
beautiful girls.
I
think-
think that is
yeah.
so funny. He does it on purpose. He's being
Facetious.
he's being facetious, but I've seen him do
Mhm.
it like at probably 2 different shows where he dedicates "Beautiful" to all the pretty girls.
That's
I'm like,
hilarious.
dude, and the girls are like, yeah, like listen to the lyrics, you dummies.
Oh, God. You know what? I think I misspoke. I think this 10-year show that I went to was around that same time, but it was in Knoxville.
Yeah, we
I don't know
think
that
we-
I was at the Exit In
of
one.
all
I'd have to
of all
look- I'd have to
places
look
we
back and
haven't seen
see.
him in Knoxville. We've seen him in Nashville and Memphis.
Oh, okay.
They played with Breaking Benjamin in Memphis a couple of times.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
was really good. It's a really good Breaking Benjamin show. It's hard to catch. I don't want to speak too bad. Benjamin Burnley is maybe not the best singer live, but we've caught him at some good concerts. Like I think he has. I'm not speaking. I think he has health issues, so doesn't do the best live. But we've caught him where he's had
Good shows.
that 10-year show. He was really good.
hmm
And there was a show in Nashville where Red. Oh, you remember Red?
Was that
Like,
Ryman?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Red opened.
that was,
Red opened Breaking Benjamin. So that night with Red and Breaking Benjamin was like
Yeah,
he
I
was like
loved
he was
Red.
on it that night.
That was
yeah.
at War Memorial.
Was that War Memorial?
War
Maybe.
Memorial with
Maybe.
Red and Breaking Benjamin.
Yeah. So I saw Breaking Benjamin. I've seen Breaking Benjamin a bunch of times, but
I mean, I got my. You can see my.
which I know I saw that, man. I love that.
Yeah, that
Cody
and
has
I
that. Cody
got
has
that.
one of those on his arm too.
Got that Coheed right there.
Oh,
my
nice.
Coheed's
Have you-
massive. It takes up most of
You
my
probably
Coheed-
seen it. We showed you in person our tattoos probably. But
Yeah.
I got Disturbed at the 10-year anniversary of Disturbed's first album. I got Disturbed across my shoulders. One of my favorite bands of all time. It
Dang,
just says
yeah.
Disturbed across my
Mine-
shoulders.
Mine too. Let's see. Hang on. There's 3 things that just came up. One,
Sorry.
Coheed opened for Linkin Park the one time that I saw them.
That's a good see. So that works. We felt bad. We saw Coheed open for Slipknot one
Oh,
time.
yeah, it went
Ooh,
Coheed,
oh,
Trivium, and
man.
Slipknot, and that
and
was
Coheed was getting booed the entire time. I
bet.
felt
Yeah, that's
so
a-
bad.
That's
That's
a
such a bad-
weird lineup.
But for Linkin Park, that fits.
Yeah. And then Breaking Ben, I saw them this past September in Alpharetta, and the set list and Ben and everything about that was incredible.
Did he play the new song?
They didn't play, it wasn't out yet, but they were hitting like they played Crawl off of Dear Agony, and they played
Wow.
like Had Enough off of Phobia, and
It's
like
deep cuts.
Evil Angel, Dance with
I
the
love
Devil.
Evil
Oh,
Like,
Angel.
Evil
it
Angel
was like-
live. Oh
it was
man.
a heavy set, and Ben sounded perfect because
That's
sometimes
awesome.
you go to the Breaking Benjamin shows and they'll
His
do a lot
guitarist
of
will
Keith
sing.
vocal.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
Keith will sing, and they do a
Well,
really good job at
did you-
it. But this show, Ben sang everything.
He must be feeling good then.
because
Yeah,
the time we saw him.
He was on.
We
it.
saw in
Speaking of covers,
in Memphis, or was it War Memorial? War Memorial. He you said the other guy, the guitarist.
Yeah.
They did an Anima cover.
a Tool, yeah.
Oh
Anima.
yeah, I've seen that too.
That was
Yeah, it's
sick.
super good.
Ben didn't
Yeah.
sing
No one
it.
does a
Ben didn't
Tool
sing
cover.
it. No, who does Tool covers? You know, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. But they did
That's
Tool.
one of his
Ben kind
favorite
of stepped.
bands.
Yeah, Ben stepped back and he took over and they did a freaking Anima cover. Ooh wee.
Mhm. Yeah.
You ballsy
but-
enough to do one of those?
You gonna do a Tool cover?
Disturbed- Oh no, you wouldn't see us. We would not pull that one off. Disturbed though, man. The Disturbed 3 Days Grace 7 Dust tour coming up. Man,
Oh, well,
that's
in
gonna be-
Dust We Trust.
In Dust We Trust. Is that
In
the
that-
I like?
Or is that
It's
different?
the Sickness tour. The In Dust We Trust tour is like happening around the same time. That's what they're
Yeah,
doing on the off days from that show.
yeah.
But yeah, man, Disturbed doing the Sickness in
Are they
full,
doing the entirety?
doing
It's
the
the
whole
whatever
album, and
20th
3 Days
anniversary or
Grace with
something.
yeah, 3 Days Grace with Adam is opening, and then Seven Dust before that.
What
God.
a free! Are they coming? Have I missed that? Is that coming to Nashville?
Louisville,
Louisville?
Louisville's the
See,
closest, which is about a 3.5 hour drive.
oh, I've seen
But
all
man,
those.
it's a
I've seen all the. So you were at the Seven Dust Daughtry.
yes.
You saw
Mhm.
we didn't catch up that night, but I knew you were there somewhere. So that's the last time I saw Seven. Blake missed me and my wife went 'cause she wanted to see Daughtry, of course, and she just
Yeah,
I haven't got. I've been trying to get her into Seven Dust. She likes rock music too, but she
yeah.
was there for like her 10th time seeing Daughtry. Daughtry's fine. I like him.
I like Daughtry.
But that Seven Dust. Oh, and I know because freaking Tremonti was there. Like
Tremonti.
Yeah, yeah, I was
Tremonti,
there.
that's your
Yeah.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
Have you
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
meet him
yeah.
Yeah,
yet?
I think you met him. I
I
think
think you met him, right?
I
you did a
have, yeah.
post about it. Yeah.
It's like it's comical the amount of times that I've like met Mark Tremonti at shows. The very first show I ever went to was Alter Bridge in 2007,
Hmm.
and before the show started, like we just kind of got into the venue and stuff, and my brother was outside the main room, and he comes into the main room and he's like, "Dude, I just met Mark Tremonti. He's right out there," and like I was like, "What?" And so like I ran out there and like got a picture with him and met him really quick, and so that was my first experience at the very first show I ever went to, and so since then, Mark Tremonti, like when it comes to rock stars, he's probably the easiest one to just like
Walk up
you
to.
know, yeah, like it used to kind of be like clockwork. Like people would hang out outside of the venue, outside of their bus after shows because you knew every single time he was gonna come out there and he'll talk to people and he'll take pictures. And so back in the day, I used to be one of those people that would they would just like try to meet him
Hmm.
I mean,
everywhere.
we've been there before. Like we've
Yeah.
met. Like I said, I've gotten pictures with Jared from Head PE,
Uh-huh.
Alexis Brown from oh my God, what's that?
That doesn't even make music anymore.
I know what's the band called though. My brain's breaking.
I can't remember.
Oh my God,
Is it-
Barroom Brawl,
Uh,
Ashes in the Wind,
she's from
Straight Line Stitch
Straight Line Stitch. Yeah, she's from
Oh, okay.
Clarksville.
out of Clarksville. She's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know if you
Really
know
nice
that band. I
person.
don't think they're making
I do
music
remember
anymore.
that band, yeah.
Yeah, I think she had a baby and they kind of stopped making music. But we again we saw her at the warehouse and she's from Clarksville and her mom was there and she said on stage she's like, I'm sorry if I'm showing off, my mom's in the audience, but she's a phenomenal freaking female vocalist. She's
Mhm.
awesome. But anyway,
That's cool.
uh, you
We,
got me off track now,
so because we've met Jesse, we got to meet
dude. Have you
Darrow from Fair to Midland.
one of my favorite bands
Oh man, they Fair to Midland, yeah, they opened for 10 years in Chattanooga one time, maybe 2008 or 2009. I
That's
remember
probably the
that.
one we saw. We
I
were
was
probably
at
at that
I
one.
was at that show.
Is it
I
Club
probably
Fathom? Club Fathom?
maybe I've seen
The
that.
one you kind of like walk down into like a little
Yes.
like yep.
That
So
was
yeah,
and that was also where I saw Alter Bridge that for the
yeah,
first
we
time.
saw
Yeah.
the 10 years in
Because
Fair to
we
Middle is one of my favorite bands of
because
all
we
time
didn't
that's
want to
not
go.
around anymore.
Our cousin wanted us to go. We're like, I don't know. We've seen 10 years enough. We're not so sure. But then he was
Yeah.
like, who else is playing? And it's like Fair to Midland. She was like, Fair to Midland, 10 years, same show. And he bought the tickets
Mhm.
right there because we've never
Yeah.
seen Fair to Midland live, and we
Yeah,
wanted
we
to.
saw him like
Man,
three times
I
total before they
remember
broke up.
I remember he was like hanging from the rafters or something, man.
He's nuts, dude.
He's a
Yeah.
phenomenal.
He's okay. Another kind of a weird thing is like when I met him finally in Memphis one time.
At that show.
Different show. This is
Oh,
the
this is
Memphis
okay.
show, not the Chattanooga, the Memphis show. I still have the picture when I met Darrow, and I was just like fucking ecstatic. Literally one of my favorite bands ever. And they were like, and the venue was shutting them down because they were
They
playing.
went over. Yeah, the venue shut them
They
down.
went,
While
they
they
were
were playing
playing over, and
song.
the venue's like shutting the freaking power off and shit,
Oh
and shutting
yeah.
them down. Darrell's like, man, fuck, this sucks. And then like he's like, everything's coming down, and everybody's kind of leaving and breaking, but he sits on the stage, kind of just like catching his breath and stuff like that. And I weasel my way up there, and I get to meet him. I'm like, dude, I was like, that was awesome, dude. Darrell, I freaking love you so much, dude. He was like, oh man, I love you too. And we hugged, and I got a picture, and I have that picture of me. He's just fucking covered in sweat. He's just like
Uh-huh.
his energy and like that. And he's like, I never I always have that memory. He's like, oh, dude, I love you too, man.
Dude,
Which he
that's
said that to
awesome.
everybody, I'm sure. But I have that memory locked in from when I was younger and
Yeah.
getting that picture and seeing one of the craziest best bands. And and I
They
wish
got like 3
they had
albums.
bad management or something like that like tanked all their freaking money and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that happens.
It always makes me wonder, like, with someone that talented, that good at making music
yeah,
and
what do they do
making
with their lives?
metaphorical lyrics and stuff, like, yeah, what is he doing with all that creativity? It makes me sad to not know that it's not out there in the world being
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, who knows, man. I mean, that's the unfortunate reality of a lot of you know, a lot of musicians
I'd
is
say
that.
most. I mean, like I say, you're lucky to keep going. Most probably don't make it. I don't want to get into, I don't want to get to a
Get to a
sour
sad
side of the
part, yeah,
podcast,
but
No,
but
man, no, but
I love
yeah,
Bird of Midland. Still listen to him, all the time.
yeah, they were a good
which is
band.
crazy. Like their second album got on Serge Tankian's label, and that still
The
didn't help.
first album was.
There's like an EP
Oh,
before that, but they got on Serge Tankian's label for their that little first big
Surgical
release,
Strike.
Surgical Strike, and still didn't get them enough oomph
Enough
to like stick around.
momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I've been
yeah.
wanting to ask too. So last time we spoke, I jokingly asked if like Music City, have you like thought of scoring music for maybe a TV show or video games or stuff like that? And I don't know if you got an opportunity to do that, or the
Mhm.
other thing, like a two-parter, is have you guys had to create any I think it's called like tour footage, like stuff that like plays on like the you
well,
know
they did their music video for Alive again.
well, yeah,
That's
you
Yeah,
have music videos too, yeah. So have you like done other stuff along those lines?
yeah. So, man, unfortunately, we're all really bad at like getting stuff in the moment like that. Like, I'm always like, we need somebody that's here with us, like just capturing candid things, you know, so that we can have this kind of footage. Because, like, you see
That's what
all
it's
these,
called, right? Tour footage or like
B roll
yeah,
or something.
yeah. I mean, because you see all these bands, you know, that have footage of them playing in bars, you know, in the late 90s and stuff. And you're just like, man, they were smart enough to be capturing, you know, them in the van and them doing all this stuff. And, you know, we don't have a ton of stuff like that, unfortunately.
Hmm.
We just weren't, I mean, for one reason or another, you know, whether it be like the logistics of travel, like with us going in separate vehicles or this, that, or the other. But we did, you know, there's a photographer that came and took some pictures and video of us in Knoxville and asked if we needed somebody. Well, actually, we asked if they would come to Atlanta. And so, yeah, so we got that video there in Atlanta and it turned out really good. And so we hope to do more of that. Yeah, we just need to do a better job of it in general. And that's actually one of the things that I like recently was saying in the group text is like, okay, on these shows coming up, make sure we bring a camera because we need to
Somebody
film.
film something, please.
Yeah, we need to
Because
film all the shows. Like we need to, you know, we need to start documenting this stuff better, just so we have it ourselves. Because I like that stuff, you know. Like
Yeah,
I
because
like,
do you have? So I guess you have no footage. Like I said, these big shows you've done, you have no footage of you in none of those shows, probably, or little bits here and there, maybe
well, yeah. I mean, we have like little
to
bits here and there
preserve
where
those
somebody like
memories.
will get some phone stuff, but we don't have anything professional or like anything
Yeah.
really edited together. I mean, luckily, like there's usually somebody that will get a little bit of a video
Hmm.
of something or take some pictures, but just like some actual like pro dedicated,
Hmm.
like we need to just have
I
somebody
see.
that.
I see the pictures of like I see pictures of you and you and the band all the time on y'all social media. So somebody's getting something.
Yes, yeah.
They look really
So
good. Yeah.
luckily, especially when you play like at a nicer venue or like you're opening for a bigger band, there are usually photographers there that will take, you know, really good
Hmm.
pictures.
Yeah.
And most,
And
I mean, they're always
they just supply those to you, or you got to ask
a
for
lot
them
of
or
a
anything.
lot of
Yeah.
times, yeah, a lot of times they're really really sweet about it, and you know, we'll like send you a link and we just credit them,
Nice.
you know. So yeah,
our good buddy, he's actually been on the podcast before. He's a movie director. He's made like 3 or 4 movies,
oh
and one
man,
of his main jobs is he does tour footage for a
oh
Well,
couple
man,
of.
he works in Nashville, so he does like
I think one of the
kind
last
of
things he
behind the
did was
scenes.
like
that's
Brad
cool.
Paisley or
Yeah,
something. He did like tour footage,
he like edits the I
the
think I don't
tour
know.
footage,
Yeah,
the big
he
movies that
edits the
play
things
the
that play on the screen behind people, like
yeah.
behind the bands when they're playing
Oh
live.
yeah, that's really really cool. Yeah, a lot of times now, like if you go to a band and they're like playing a big arena or something like that, and they have all those video screens,
It'll
that's
play on the
pretty cool. And
jumbotrons or on the projection screens, and
yeah,
he actually edits the footage for that particular. I think it was Brad
oh,
Paisley. I
Yeah,
might be
we
wrong,
don't want
but
to put it up there too
yeah.
much because I don't know
yeah.
if because he's kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, I didn't say his name. I
Well,
just said he was a.
if your buddy ever needs music for one of the movies that he directs, you know, give him
Yeah,
our number because
man,
back to your
yeah,
first question. I would love to get involved in something like that, but I still haven't.
You haven't had the opportunity to present itself or something.
Yeah, I think there are several Emerge songs though they could like definitely like lend themselves to be in like some kind of horror movie or like an action
he's
movie
our
or
friend's a
you
horror movie
know.
director, and his guy. So we have another podcast that's a movie podcast, and we got his guy who scored his movie to write the song for the other podcast.
Shout out to Greg Bennett. You do
Yeah,
great
yeah,
music.
Greg Bennett. He scored his movie and he
That's
wrote the
awesome.
song. And we told him, he's like, we told him, I was like, Greg, we're not sure what we want. I just messaged him. I was like, okay, we want a bit of like Steve's our buddy Steve. Steve's the co-host, and like Steve wants a bit of Metallica. Blake wants a bit of Corn. He's like, I got it. In like less than 24 hours, we got the intro to the podcast, and it sounds like freaking Corn and Metallica, and it
Yeah,
kind of
Metallica,
plays
yeah.
and
Oh,
it does.
man.
It's like, and I was like, dude, Greg nailed it. It's
So
awesome.
you ain't got to listen to the podcast or anything, but it's called
Yeah.
Suspension of Disbelief. Just listen to the intro,
Okay.
and Greg Bennett did that, and it's just great.
Well, hang on. I'm looking it up right now.
If you want
That
to
way I-
Suspension of Disbelief.
Yeah, if you want a movie
Suspension.
podcast,
Yeah, well, I do like movie podcasts, so
this
here
is
we
a
go.
deep
I
one.
got
Like
it.
him and Steve dig deep
And
into like
we
2-hour
the movies are
podcast.
wacky.
Sick. All right, cool. I just followed it, so
Yeah,
I'll check it out,
that
man.
intro is like that's a specifically written for that podcast. And Greg Bennett, if
It
you
was less than 24 hours. He knocked it out. Greg Bennett
That's
does good music.
he's sick, and we credit him. We thank him every episode. We thank you and Emerge too for
Yeah.
having our intro song there too.
Oh, I know. I've
But,
heard it, man. We appreciate just being included on it.
Yeah, our cousin reached out to you
Yeah.
too.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, and he played.
Zukovius.
What's he got? Divide? Is he playing Divide?
Divide?
Yeah, I think that's what he's using. Yeah,
Man,
that
have
was
you
super
seen-
cool too, man. He's
Have you
really
seen
nice
his
guy.
intros?
Mhm.
That
Where-
link
where
up to your
It
song?
links up to the beat of the song. I was like, dude, that
Yeah.
freaking is so
Dude,
sick.
it was really cool, man. That was I
We've
really
tried,
reached
we've
out.
tried because he's like he's doing his own thing too, and he's small like we are, and I was like, okay, dude, because we're trying to do our YouTube thing, and we're like, I was like, you get some game footage, man. We want you to make an intro like yours, but to letting go. And he was like, that's a lot of work. And we're like, okay, well, do what you can. And right now we're waiting for Blake. Like he wants Blake to you pick a bunch of game
clips. I gotta get some
clips
clips
and send it to me, and I will make you an intro like mine. We're like, okay, cool.
Mhm.
I don't know if because like Divide has that beats where like as it changes,
Right.
he changes the game. And it's so cool. It's like Letting Go doesn't have that exactly, but like we'll still
Mhm.
like a cool him editing an intro for us for
if you need
YouTube.
someone to edit footage for you, be nice to
Yeah.
people, reach out to him.
Yeah, no, for sure.
He's
Yeah, I
video,
mean,
he's a video.
He'd love the hell out of it.
Yeah.
yeah, no,
He
that was
wants some
pretty
video
cool.
editing. If you message him and he wants some video editing, he will crap his pants.
Literally.
It's like
Yeah, I
he
mean, I
loves
might-
you guys too.
Yeah, no, man, he's super cool. I've chatted with him about all that. Like, I was just happy that anybody wanted to use the music for anything. So
Oh, I know I'll say it's just a small little group of people just loving everybody's stuff. It's just it's what it is.
everything counts.
Yeah.
He gets a couple hundred watches on his videos, and
Yeah, like whoever, like every
if-
single person who watches his little YouTube channel, they hear this song and they're like, "What is that?" And then he'll a lot of times he'll say it in the videos and stuff like that. And that's maybe say 100 people watch a video. If one of 100 like goes and clicks on Emerge, there you go.
Good, but
yeah,
then-
no, I know, man. That's super cool, man. That's all that we could ever hope for. So
Mhm.
I'm glad that
just,
you
just
guys
keep being
even
nice
continue
and
with it.
pushing forward. Paying it forward.
Yeah.
All you got to do, man.
Oh, we're about this call's about like an hour and a half. But we talked a bit before the podcast. I don't know how much more
Man, if
time.
we
How
could
much more time do
end
you
it
got?
up- Oh man, I'm good.
You good?
For at least for another probably at least 20 minutes, I would think.
Oh yeah, we're good for it. I know you said you got a lunch. Like my wife.
Yeah,
is
that's what I was
leaving,
looking.
so
I didn't even realize what time it was, man. Time flies. I
it's
I
flying
like
by.
it,
We've
though,
been
like,
jamming about
I
stuff
do have a question. We spoke
Yeah, yeah.
about it briefly
in the old
Mhm.
podcast.
at the old podcast because it's something we never actually touch base on. But I think it's really funny because we have done an episode about the game.
Mhm.
But back when we talked about like what are the games we were going to talk about we could play, the game hadn't come out yet. But Back for Blood,
Oh yeah.
we actually played it and put out an episode of it with our cousin Brian. Have you got around to playing Back for Blood, or what games have
did.
you been playing lately?
I did play it
any.
with some friends for a minute when it came out, but we didn't stick to it too long.
It doesn't pop like Left 4 Dead does.
No, I know, man. Left 4 Dead was
And
great.
they're making them. Back for Blood 2 is in development. So
We'll see.
We'll see. So this year, like I mentioned earlier, that we it's weird, man, because I love video games, and I have like
yeah.
next time we do something like this, I'll have to do it. I have a game room, man, and so like I'm a big I collect video games.
yeah. You mentioned steelbooks. You saw my steelbook wall behind
Yep.
me, so you collect steelbooks as well.
Yep, steelbooks. I'm a big Xbox guy, like in general, so I collect a lot of original Xbox games.
Mhm.
I'm a big Halo guy, so I got a little bit of a Halo collection. I'm a Star Wars nut, so I have
Yeah. Have
Wait.
you of an Xbox? Have you dabbled in the Indiana Jones yet?
I have. Yeah.
There you go.
So
There you go. We haven't played
um
it yet, but yeah, you can.
yeah, so I really like that. That was the most recent thing that I was playing. I
Hmm.
haven't played a lot of it, but I really like it because it's very easy to get into. There's nothing
Hmm.
about it that's like it's hard to put into words, but it's very it's like relaxing almost. And it feels like the movie, like the vibe and the
Yeah.
graphics and everything. It's got a lot of like really good cutscenes, so you really feel like you're Indiana Jones. But it's also like apparently the same core team that made Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from
Oh
Butcher
yeah.
Bay. You
Oh
guys
really? I
remember
didn't
that
know
game
that because I know the
from
developer. They've done all the recent Wolfenstein games,
Wolfenstein
machine
games
machine
too?
gun games.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that they're a pretty quality developer. I didn't know they did the.
The
They
Butcher
did that
Bay,
Yeah.
Riddick
Escape from Butcher
that
Bay.
Riddick game, yeah, man, which was like one of my
That game
favorite
hold.
stealth
God, I
games.
played that a couple years
That game holds
back.
up.
I think it holds up.
I mean,
I need to
Pitch
go
Black
back
still holds
to
up.
it.
Pitch Black's a great movie.
Hmm.
Pitch Black's, I'm talking about horror movies and stuff. Pitch Black, yeah, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Pivoting off.
Yeah, so let's see. This year's just been like it's been busy because like my wife and I moved not far, but that's still like
Moving's a big thing. Yeah.
took a chunk of
Oh
time.
god,
And then, just like everything with music, like I find that when I get into video games, like I really get in that lane, man, and I'll get
Oh, you ain't
sucked
gotta
in and
tell.
I'll
You ain't
play.
gotta tell us. If I'm not watching TV with my wife, I'm playing a video game.
Yeah, and so for me, it's either I'm putting 250 hours into Elden Ring or like Tears of the Kingdom or something,
There you go.
or I'm focused on music. And so this year I kind of like, made the choice to focus a little bit more on music. And also I think this year was a little bit slower for games too. Like there were a handful of things that came out that I dabbled in, like the Final Fantasy VII
oh remake,
We played
remake
Rebirth. We
sequel.
played
Rebirth,
Rebirth.
yeah,
Yeah.
Rebirth.
Yeah, and I like that, but again, like that came out and then
So big.
yeah, and that's the thing too, man. Like some of these games, and those are my favorite kind of games, like the
RPGs.
massive, your Elden Rings and like
Hmm.
Tears of the Kingdom and things like that, Red Dead Redemption, like things where you really do like just sink in weeks
Hmm.
of your time. But I always get overwhelmed before I start something like that.
It's hard to start
It's
them. We talk about starting
and
things, and
that's
Blake
yeah.
avoids a lot of open world games like that. And like
I
Mhm.
do.
once you start it, like the last gigantic game I played was Assassin's Creed Origins,
Yeah,
which is daunting. But once I
that's what
played
I'm.
it and got into it, then you're just like you're zooming
Well,
through and having a good
That's
time.
no, and that's the thing, like, and that's how it always goes. Like, and I tell my wife this sometimes. It's like, man, like I think that's where I'm like,
Mhm.
my happiest is where I'm just like obsessively playing something for a month at a time, because like
Mhm.
time flies by and you're loving it, but like I get a very one track mind with that kind of thing, and then that's like all I want to do. And so, with Final Fantasy this year, like I think I played the first like four chapters of it, and I really loved it, but then everything with life. Like we went on a vacation or something and then we moved and then it was just one thing after another. And that's a thing that I've always been really bad at is if I start a game, if I don't finish it,
Oh yeah,
like
it's gone.
right there, it's like it's very hard for me to ever go back to it.
At this point, you'd have to restart the game. I mean,
Yeah.
You'd probably get you about the exact same point, and then you'd have to stop it, and it
And
just
yeah, no, I know, yeah.
I tell you
So
what. Speaking of Elden Ring, we haven't played Elden Ring yet. I think
oh,
we've so we were playing. So ironically, with our cousin who edits our podcast, he'll be editing
mhm.
this. Thank you, Brian.
Sweet.
We started for some reason. I think because it was on sale first. We started with him and Dark. We started with Dark Souls 3 and got it for like
Yeah.
$10. We're gonna play Dark Souls 3. It's like okay, I guess we're gonna play through the Souls franchise backwards because we're stupid. So we started with Dark Souls 3, and then we've played other games, and we've played Dark Souls 2. So we're going to play Dark Souls 1, and then we're going to
Yeah.
play the Demon Souls remake, and then pivot
Yeah.
all the way back around eventually because we're insane to Elden Ring. So we're going to get there eventually.
Yeah, I
But
mean, if you guys are like, so I had never played a Souls game, and honestly, I was like getting into an overwhelming,
overwhelmed a little bit.
large game.
yeah,
I
we can always.
was, I just really didn't know coming into it. I mean, I had a buddy, and he and I were like hyping each other up about it, because at
Mhm.
the time, like everybody in the gaming world was like, that was the game, and that game came out the day before I got married. So I had it pre-ordered, and then when I
Yeah,
came back from my from our honeymoon, like it was there, but I was still kind of like, man, I don't know. Do I want to like get into this? I'm not sure. And long story short, I got into that game and I sunk more hours into that game than I have in any single player game
that's crazy.
ever.
That's
I
what's so
did
cool about it.
I
Yeah.
yeah, man, I did every optional dungeon, every optional boss. Like, I mean, I was like, even like after finishing the game, I was like going through online on the guides, and it was like, okay, what have I not done? And I was like going to do
That's
it. Like,
awesome.
I love that game, man.
So that's
Uh,
what our so it and that's cool you started there because that's like it's before we had started playing games with our cousin. So he had the Elden Ring and he played it by himself. couldn't get past that barrier
Like
eventually. He was just
the
like beating
third
his.
boss or
Yeah.
something.
So he got stuck. So this is before we started. So we started playing games with him. We're like, well, me and Blake we've beat everything
all the
except
souls.
for Sekiro. Because it's single player and we're babies.
Yeah,
But
I
we've beat
have
all the other
Sekiro,
games.
but I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah. Well, so what? Yeah, but we've played everything. We've played Demon Souls to Dark Souls 3. So whatever. So we told
Mhm.
Brian, I was like, well, cool. I mean, we'd love to play through the Dark Souls franchise again when we'll play with you, and maybe you'll learn something and stuff like that, and you'll have a better experience playing with people. And so we've played all the way through 3 and all the way through 2. In between
Okay.
those, he went back to Elden Ring, and now he said he's gotten further, even without playing with it. He's gotten further, and now he has a
Oh, that's awesome.
grasp. He has a grasp of Elden Ring
The
because
mechanics.
realistically, Elden Ring is Dark Souls 4. From Software won't say that, but it really is just Dark Souls 4. So it's cool how he's learned so much about playing with us, and that he transfers that what he's learned about this genre to like do even better in Elden Ring. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so and I really want to play the DLC too. Like I
Oak
downloaded it,
Tree.
but again, yeah, but again, when did that come out, man? Oh,
Like
Well,
that
last
tell,
came
year.
out. So
uh,
the game came out, like Elden Ring came out the day before my wedding. The DLC came out 1 week before we closed on our house and moved. And so I was just like the whole
weird
house was
timing,
like
huh?
packed up and I was like, man, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get into
So
this. So
you know
I
that
have
new
haven't
that
gotten
new
around
game
to it.
coming out. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, Night
Night
Rain.
Rain.
Night
So
Rain.
I tell you, like, well, if you want, because that is apparently pick up and play.
It's
Yeah,
co-op
it's just a
only. Yeah.
three player
Three player.
co-op thing.
So we'll probably be dabbling in that with our cousin, but
Yeah.
I will be we'll stay in contact around then.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we'll do it.
if you got some nights where you can jump in with me and Blake, or maybe you can jump in with Blake and Brian, or me and Brian,
Mhm.
and since you can just pick up, apparently there's like pre-made characters you pick from, and you like run through a procedurally generated dungeon, and you fight Dark Souls bosses, and like
Uh-huh.
you just jam on it and just play for a night. So I feel like we could probably
Yeah,
slide you
it's
in there
supposed
and jam a couple
it's
of times on it.
I'd love to, yeah, because I'll definitely try it out. It's supposed to be more of like an action game, I think, than
Yeah.
like the RPG side of
Apparently you can't even play it single player. Like it's built
It's
to be
co-op
played.
only.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's built to
Mm.
be played with 2 to 3. I don't think you have to have 3, but you can't play single player. Like you've got to play
Yeah,
with a group.
I'm definitely down.
Yeah, we'll get that right away. We'll keep on the
Speaking
loop
of
on that one.
like,
Even though we haven't played we probably won't have played Elden Ring by then, but I could still play that. Who knows what the story? I don't care about the storyline really that much. We can jam on that.
The story of all that stuff is like incredibly hard to understand. I mean,
Oh,
it's
dude,
so
I bought a book where this guy had like pretty much transcribed and like kind of like what was supposedly making the Dark Souls 1 story easier, like this
mm,
fat freaking book. And I got a digital copy of it, so I was like reading the digital copy and it was just like, this is still convoluted. This guy's trying to explain
oh,
things and it's
it's
still
so
convoluted. I actually gave that physical book to Brian.
our cousin
So because
Brian for
he actually, unlike us, he actually has a shelf in his house that has books on it. I was like, dude, you want this? You want this hard copy of this Dark Souls book? He's like, I'll take anything you'll give
it
me
looked cool on the shelf,
because it's
yeah.
really cool. It's like a really cool
like leather bound.
leather bound, like this is like the Dark Souls compendium of what the lore of Dark Souls 1. It's a really cool book.
Mhm.
Reading it's very difficult and convoluted, but
Man, yeah, it's I mean, like I remember as me and I had some other buddies that were playing Elden Ring at the same time, and like one of them kind of dove into the lore of it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, and this person and this person." I was like, "What? I didn't get any of that from what I
dude,
just
Because
played."
I'm just trying to hit this guy with a sword now. And
Yeah.
how that dude Hideki not yeah Hideki
Hideki.
Miyazaki, how the game creator, how he writes his stories, because for him when he was a kid, he said that when he was a kid he couldn't read English well, so he would pick up books
Mm,
at the library to try to learn how to read English, but he would read through the book and he had understood this paragraph, but then skip 2 pages, understand this paragraph, and he would make up the story between the 2 paragraphs, and so that's how he learned English, and that's
And
how he
that's how
learned
he ends up
storytelling.
that's how he ends up writing his games. That's why the Dark Souls games and Elden Ring are so broken
Vague.
apart. It's how he
mhm.
learned to read and then see
Because
how
you
he
have to read everything. You have to read
Oh.
item descriptions, listen to what the people say. You pick up, torn cloth, and you're like, oh, torn cloth. This was worn by this knight, and he was
Mhm.
beholden to this queen. And then, like 3 days later, you read like this gravestone belonged to this queen. You're like, oh crap! So this is the dude's cloth.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's complicated on purpose, but if you
so you
love
said
it, it's
you put 200 hours into playing Elden Ring. You had to put in another 200 to understand the lore.
Yeah, no
it's really
kidding.
cool. It's a cool
Yeah.
storytelling,
That
but
is cool. Yeah.
it's hard.
Complicated. I mean, we just play.
Yeah.
But, we
No, man,
tried back in the day
it's
with Dark
great.
Souls 1 to really get into
I
like
love Dark Souls 1.
Dark
We
Souls.
played, God, 200-300 hours of Dark Souls 1.
Man. Yeah.
Earlier, you
They're
said
good.
that you were mostly an Xbox feller.
Mhm.
Do you ever
Feller.
use the true achievements to like track your logistics and stuff of like your stats?
Pe-
I don't. What is that?
you boy, it's really niche. If you're not an achievement hunter, the website's not really for you. I don't know if you probably don't go chasing. You just play games to play games.
Well, I mean, my gamer score, I got like 60 plus thousand because I've had the same gamer tag since the
Oh,
360
mine's
era.
mine's coming up on 400,000. So
Woo,
I
man,
think
yeah.
so
I'm
because
nowhere.
we used to achievement hunt specifically back in
Okay.
the 360 days.
Well, because it might help you actually if you have limited time. Because what it does in certain, not every game, but certain games, it'll tell you, be like, hey, on average, people can get the 1K, all the achievements in this game from like 8 to 10 hours. And sometimes,
Oh
like,
yeah,
here's
yeah.
a
I've seen.
guide. Here's a
Yeah.
specific guide so you can get through the game, get all the achievements in 10 hours. So if someone who's on a limited time, you might be able to, like,
Right. So if
I
you're
could beat this
trying to
game in 10
boost your
hours.
score, that's the best way to.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
it's cool.
somebody's done the math for you already, so you can
Yeah,
figure out.
well
And they've written a guide for hit these beats and you can get through the game.
yeah, but the website
That's sweet.
has
Yeah.
tracks a lot of even if you don't follow achievement, that site tracks a lot of data. If you make a profile on there, it
Mhm.
pulls they're linked to Microsoft. They actually able to pull all your data from Microsoft because the website's got such a good reputation. So
Yeah.
they got their link to Microsoft and they pull all your data and they compile this wicked profile of everything you do on Xbox.
Because
It's pretty cool.
I bring it up
That is really cool.
Yeah, they're
I
called
love stuff like that. Like, you're
yeah.
wrapped at the end of the year where it tells you,
They did the
they
same
do
thing.
that.
So it's called
Yeah.
True Achievements. Go on there, you just sign on, and then you just make a profile, and they'll pull your gamer tag. Give them a couple like hours or days to like pull your data, and
Mhm.
you'll see freaking everything you've ever done on Xbox.
So
Because
it'll go back?
Yeah,
everything. If you have an
it
Xbox,
Oh, yeah. Man,
it'll
okay.
cover. Because
True.
I bring it up because I got because it gives you milestones and stuff too. It
Mhm.
tells you like, ooh, the average people who play this game, only 13% of the people who've played this game have 1K'd it, have got everything and stuff like that. It gives you like all these statistics.
Yeah,
But for
true
me,
achievement.
Yeah, True
um,
Achievements. Yep.
for true achievements, what game was it? Because we have Game Pass, and so one of the Game Pass games that was leaving Game Pass was The Quarry, which is a really cool horror game.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I
when I
like it.
played that game, I played through it. I got the a ping like a couple of days later that like, ooh, you've officially started 800 games,
Yeah, True
and the
Achievements.
quarry was the 800th game.
That you've played.
And then it went through, and then like a little bit later, I was looking at my statistics, and it's like of the 800 games you've played, when it comes to the 1Ks, your 1K, your percentage for completion was 49.71. So I basically 100%
Half the game.
half the games I play.
Dude, that's
The
awesome.
data, man. If you love data,
If you like data, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
yeah,
I'm
they're
I'm actually it's true achievements, right?
yep,
True
True Achievement.
achievements, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm actually on here right now. I'm logging in with
Because but they've also done so well too. They have a counterpoint that's true trophies, where they do the same thing for PlayStation.
wait, there's
Yep. Yeah,
I
True
do so
trophies.
I do have, yeah, here we go. I pulled up my stuff.
You might have to like
I'd
sync
give
it.
it
It's going to
if
take
you've
a
been
couple of
playing for
days.
years, give them a couple of days to compile all the data. It's
Register with Xbox Live. Yeah. Oh, nope, not
live
the right
registering for True
Amazon.
Achievement. We talk about True Achievements all the time on the podcast. It's funny to have somebody like sign up for it while we're talking about it.
Yeah,
That's
Well, the
yeah,
other
good.
they
thing
need to
too is they have
they need
like
to
all these
sponsor
like
the video.
There we go. I wish.
they have all these like
I've thought about asking the guy because I've had the guy, not me, but I've had a podcast I listened to called Kane and Rents, a really good video game podcast, and they
Mm.
got familiar with the guy who runs the website. They've had him on on their podcast. I was like, dang, I wonder if I could just like email that guy and see if he'll come on our podcast.
Man, who
You
you
know,
just gotta ask.
yeah, for sure. We
Yeah.
all our talk about just do it. I could just email this guy and say like, hey, come on the
Yes.
podcast.
Just do it, man. Here, do they have an app too?
I think I don't think it's as good, but I think they do have
I
one.
just use I literally I have the like
You just use the website.
my top thing saved on my browser is my 'cause I'm literally using True Achievements right now. It's my top, you can't see it on the camera. My top
Mhm.
thing is True Achievement. I have a guide for I'm playing Pillars of Eternity,
Mhm.
and I have a TA guide for Pillars of Eternity right now. So my top thing in my browsers is always my True Achievements tab is my top save tab.
Gotcha.
We
Okay.
use them almost every game, every time we play something. Because even if you don't want a guide for a whole game, people get on there. All the other users there's a specific thing achievement you're trying to get. You go to that achievement and you click on that, and people will tell you
Strategies that work for
strategies
them
and
and stuff.
workarounds you would have never thought of to get that
Man.
achievement. Because people live for this stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
what they do.
Something simple that I just did the other day. I was doing this was a PlayStation game, but still, I was playing a game, and as soon as this side quest starts, it's like you have these three people, and you have to fight the leader. But as soon as you go into the game, they start running. So you have to like sprint and fight them in order. But if the leader gets to the end of the cave, side quest over. So when I started the fight, my guide was like, "Hey, as soon as you load into the thing, what is it? He said soft reset your game and load your autosave because the game gets confused. It freezes all the people, and so I was able to
Mhm.
just run around the people and just go straight to the leader and finish the side quest in like 3 seconds.
And people figure that crap out
People
all the
figure out little
time.
Oh, I know, man. It's
glitches,
like
or they're
watching
like,
like the Super Mario 64 speed runs where people are
Oh
like
God.
skipping through walls and going backwards up the stairs and
Hmm.
"Oh yeah."
yeah, it's
People make
Like
crazy.
that.
I think if you like data, which I think you do with like logistics and stuff like that from
Mhm.
everything, I think you'll be like, oh, this is really cool. I've played this game, and then, like it'll give you a thing. If you go back and play old games, you're like, oh, I can people. There's ways that I can beat this game and get the 1K in literally 5 hours. That
Yeah,
also for
that would
us when
be
games go on sale,
pretty cool.
like like oh this game's $2. We're like the first thing we do we're like TA, what's the TA score? You're like, all right, people averagely get the 1K in for 2 hours. I'm like 2 hours for $1.99.
Let's
Man,
do
just go
it.
ahead and buy
That's
it.
like a
You know,
dollar
why
an
not?
hour. Yeah, that's
Well,
sweet.
speaking of having limited time, do you
Hmm.
have because I'm currently addicted. There's a really awesome game on Game Pass that you can play in like 30-minute intervals, and
Hmm.
it's called Vampire Survivor,
I've
and
heard of that.
it's like an auto shooter, and you can play it in like 30-minute rounds. And I'm gonna do something live.
Pull up your TA data for how long
I'm
you've
gonna do
played
a
that.
live thing for it just so you can see it. So let me go TA True Achievements.
You got what, 200 hours in Vampire
I
Survivors?
do. Let's see here. Vampire. Oh, where do I spell
Yeah, if you
vampire?
want a quick pick up and play thing, Vampire Survivors would be your
Okay,
jam.
so Vampire Survivors. Okay, so let me refresh to make sure my statistics are accurate. Okay, so according to this, I started January 28th, 2023. And my last achievement I got in it was September 15th, 2024. And according to this, I have all the achievements, but I have played 139 and a half hours
Vampire Survivors.
because it's got
Man,
like
I do love that kind
it's
of
got
thing.
that
Like, and I
statistics
love,
right there. It's got my time I
yeah.
started, the time, date, and everything, and the achievements and how many.
Mhm.
It's a good site.
I always, it's cool. I mean, if that can really pull like the back data and
It'll
stuff, like,
It
pull.
should pull all the way through
'cause
your
that's,
360
It'll go all the way
years.
to 360.
Yeah.
yeah, because I had a,
As long as your Xbox was online at the time and the data was saved to Microsoft, it's going to pull all
Mhm.
of it.
Man, that's great because I do love going like and just looking through. I mean, because you can do some of that stuff just through the Xbox app, like not
Hmm.
super specifics, but you can see how many hours you put into it and all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. So I always love seeing that.
Yeah.
Because
You'll love getting your little monthly once you're if you're playing it because the TA will send you a monthly wrap up and then your
Hmm.
year end wrap up is so cool.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
like I'm just looking at it right now. Like my top things, it's like I've played 800 games. I have achieved 15,084 achievements, and the last achievement I got was 12 hours ago.
Dude, that's sick.
I think the gamification of your gaming will make it more
Yes.
addictive toward you,
No, it
unfortunately.
does for sure. Yeah. No, that's really cool, man. I'm looking forward to playing, hopefully playing a lot more games next year.
But
There's a lot of good stuff coming
Hmm.
out.
I'm telling you, if you got just a limited time, check out the Vampire Survivors because
Hmm.
it's literally
The rounds are they're literally timed to 30
either
minutes.
time 30 minutes, but what it is it's a roguelike. So you have a the more you play, you unlock different characters to play that have different starting weapons. And
Hmm.
it's like a little 8-bit character. Have you seen it before? I don't want to explain it if you've already seen it
I,
before.
I don't know that I have. I mean, I know I've heard of
Yeah,
Vampire
it's
Survivors,
popular.
but I don't.
It's a
Yeah.
big deal.
But
Yeah.
you're like a
Yeah.
little 8-bit sprite and it's an auto shooter. So all you do is you move the stick and you survive. But it
Okay.
has each character has a weapon and it automatically triggers the weapon whenever you get, towards enemies and stuff like that.
And they have a
And
cooldown.
then you can have up to 6 weapons equipped and then you get 6 accessories. And depending on the combination of accessories and weapons, sometimes the weapons will evolve into a stronger version. And the mystery of
Okay.
figuring out what weapons go with what accessories and what character will start with what weapon to make it easier. Because as you level up, it's random what weapons become available for you to unlock.
Gotcha.
And it's just a crazy little, like I said, I've put it's because it's 30 minutes. It's like 30-minute little
Yeah.
intervals, and then once you start pinging the achievements, you're like, well, I'm kind of close. I have 220 achievements in that game.
And
And then that dude keeps putting out, like the crazy thing is too, it's like supporting people. It's a single dude.
Yeah, he
yeah.
made
It's
it
a
by
single dude
himself.
who made it entirely by himself. He's made DLCs and stuff, and some of the DLCs are like for Among Us, for the big one. He just did a Castlevania DLC with like old school Castlevania characters,
Oh, you know
and
what? I
then
have seen that then because
and then Metal
did they show
Slug.
that
He
during
did
the
some
Game
stuff for Metal
Awards?
Slug.
Probably because if Vampire Survivors is huge, and the Castlevania crossover is a big deal.
Yeah.
The guy's like, it's like made his life. I think probably in Vampire Survivors is one guy.
But like I
Yeah.
said, if you're stuck on time, and it's a nice, for lack of a better term, it's a nice
You can play on
bullshit
you
game.
can play it on your phone or anything probably.
If you
That's
could stream
awesome.
to your phone, do you do that?
No, you know, like I did, I got one of those backbone controllers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did try it a little, but I don't do it as much as I
If you
I want
have
to.
Game Pass, if you have Game Pass or Game
Yeah,
Pass Ultimate,
I do.
then you could stream anything on Game Pass. And Vampire Survivors is on Game Pass. You snap your phone to that backbone,
Hmm.
launch Vampire Survivors. If you're sitting watching TV or just hanging out at the freaking house, all
And I
literally
don't know why I don't think to do that. I don't know why I don't think to
like
do that more.
like he said, man, Vampire Survivors, all you need is that left stick, and you're just moving
Yeah.
around.
There's no story. It's a
You're just
roguelike. So if you
you're
die,
just
you just restart back up.
Hmm.
Back
Yeah.
at zero, and you just restart.
I think another great thing for on Game Pass would be Slay the Spire, which
Oh, Slay the
I've played
Spire.
on my phone before. Look at Slay the Spire if you like a quick sit down play for a couple of minutes. Slay the
Okay.
Spire, and I've played it on my phone. So I mean, I've played a freaking touchscreen. You got the backbone. You're doing better than me. The backbone will be even better. And then playing through because that's like a deck building kind of a
Yeah, it's
roguelike
like a
as
deck
well.
building turn-based
Slay
combat
the Spire
thing.
is awesome. I don't even really like roguelites or deck builders, and I like Slay the Spire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Hmm.
Speaking of streaming, because we had it before we got our new jobs. We were working at an office, and it was just me and him. We had like a really awesome opportunity, but then the
Mhm.
the company is like, oh, we got to combine buildings we can't afford. But anyway, so what he would do is while we were working, and I was like doing my stuff, and he was waiting for me to hand the paperwork and stuff to him before he could sort. He would literally pull out his phone. He has a flip phone, so he would open it
Yeah, I got
up,
mine's
and he was
mine's the Galaxy Fold.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so he would
that'd
literally link his PlayStation controller, Xbox controller to his phone, and was playing. Was it Origins?
I did play
He
some
was playing
Assassin's I
Origins
played
while
Assassin's
working
Creed
on his
Origins on
phone.
my phone.
I know I tried playing like some like Halo Infinite on my phone when it came out, and I was like, I don't know if this is
Maybe not. So
this
what
is
I was
working too
doing
great.
was funny. What I was doing with Origins is like when I was at home, I was doing story. When I was at work, I was like just going and doing little checking boxes on the freaking map. You know, like
That's
go here to
smart.
this base, stab a few
Mhm.
guys. Go to this base, stab a few guys. When I get home, hit the plot line
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
That's a
I got
good
a
way
eight.
to.
How big's the TV?
You have an 85 inch
I got an
TV, yeah.
85-inch TV in the living room, so where I play my Xbox and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's sweet.
we
that
got
was
room
my
to go
present.
bigger,
That
so
was
we
my
might get
present to
100
that's a present to myself. What Black Friday 1 or 2 years ago.
last year.
Dude, that's awesome. I'd love to have one that big. I think mine's 65.
Dude,
I'd love an
Best Buy
85.
on Black Friday, I paid like
1500.
15 with tax. It was like $1,700 for
Wow.
85-inch Samsung QLED. They're one of their high end TVs.
Uh-huh.
Black Friday, Best Buy,
Dude, that's a good deal.
So come next
dude,
year.
85.
Yeah, come next year. Yeah.
I joke now that because the TV's up and there's like I joked with my wife. I was like, there's a little bit of blank space on this side of the TV, a little bit of blank space on this side of the TV. I told my wife, I was like, I could probably go to 100 if we're being honest. And she's like, you need to shut up. The 85 is more than enough TV for
Yeah,
anybody to have.
that'll take up a whole wall.
Yeah,
I
it
mean-
pretty much just about does. There's like a little bit of like maybe 6 inches on either side of the TV, maybe left over, and it's
Mhm.
But there's above and below too, so you get it because they do it diagonal, an 80-inch diagonal. So
Right.
you just
85.
cover
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's a good time.
But what other games you've been playing besides like Great Circles, the one we were talking about?
Yeah,
That was called the Great
um,
Circle.
man, I've probably, as lame as it is, I think the most time that I've spent on any game this year has probably been Black Ops 6. That's
Yeah,
just
we
one
It's a
did-
that
big
my-
game. We don't play them. We know it's huge.
Pick up
Yeah,
and
that's
play, play it for a few hours
every
a night.
year. Yeah, every year, like it's the kind of thing where like I've got buddies that will get the latest, and then we'll get on the multiplayer for a month or two, and then we kind of drop off until the next year.
Until the next
This
Call of
year
Duty.
was just great. Yeah, this year was just great because I didn't have to drop $70 on it. It was just in Game
Game
Pass.
Pass,
So,
yeah, Game Pass,
yeah,
man, pays
so-
for itself so quickly.
Yeah, Game
Mhm.
Pass is
Everybody's whining about, oh, they're raising the price of Game Pass. I'm just like, calm down, like don't. I
It's
mean,
still-
it's
yeah.
still an incredible deal.
yeah.
it's
Even in a
300
year-
plus games.
Even in a year like this where I really didn't play many games, getting Black Ops and Indiana Jones
Yeah,
for free
like
paid
you
for-
just download it and
paid
you're
for-
good to go.
Yeah,
Just hit download and you're jamming in in an hour. You know,
right. Yeah, man, it's
We're not
pretty
the- you know,
sweet.
And a cool thing for us, I was talking about the true achievements thing, is when every month or 15th, whatever, when they're like, "Hey, these 8 games are leaving Game Pass," we're like, "Really now?
Mm-hmm.
How
They're like,
hard?
"Good,
How
have
fast to
fun."
beat
they
this
well they
game?
do
How fast to beat
they
this
do
game?"
they do a post. They're like, these games are leaving. These games have a guide. This is how long it takes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True achievements would do the work for you.
Mhm. Yeah,
And so like,
that's
well,
awesome.
because
I'm
that's what we
definitely gonna
played through
be.
with Quarry, because Quarry is like on average people beat this between 10 to 15 hours, and I'm like, well, okay, well let me go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Corey was all right.
yeah, man, that's sweet. I'm definitely gonna be looking at true achievements. That's for sure.
I think you like, you're like, oh, I got time. I could play a
Hmm.
game right now. I could do this. I could do that. But I think just anything, because you are on limited time
Yeah, you keep
Hmm.
with,
saying that.
I know, I'm just saying, I think that's the best thing is you're like, ooh, here's a way to get through a game in 10 hours as opposed to being lost for 20.
Yeah, yeah, because I always like before a game comes out, like even with Indiana Jones, that was like I went to How Long to Beat. You guys ever go there?
How
How
long to
long to
be?
beat?
Yep.
Yeah, their app stopped working, so you got to go to the website now. I don't know why
Yeah.
their app just errors out now.
Oh man, I've always gone to the website. I didn't really even realize they
No,
had an app.
I think the app's probably dead. It literally every time I use the app, so I deleted it off my phone. It kept erroring out, and I was like, I guess they're done with the app. So I just go to the website.
Yeah, go to the website. Yeah, yeah. So I looked up Indiana Jones, and it was like a little under 10 hours, or right around 10 hours, or something. I was like, all right, that's perfect. That's
Perfect.
right
That's
in
what
the
Game
wheel.
Pass is for, man. I love a 10-hour game.
Yeah. So
Jam through
there's
it.
just there are too many. Like you don't need. I mean, for me, like even if it is a big game, even a big game, 30 hours is like a good,
Yeah.
Well, I
amount.
think
Like
You start dragging your heels, and you're like, okay, I'm ready for this to
two of
yeah,
the
wrap it
even
up.
so, even some of the best RPGs of all time, like the Mass Effect series, like those are like 30 to 40 hour games, and that's like doing
Dude.
um, almost everything you can do in those games.
When
That's like
you
that's good.
you brought up Rebirth, and by the end of getting to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I was like 90 something hours, and I'm just like, okay, now
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
and
also
I'm
us doing everything.
we were doing all the side quests and all the bullshit. We're doing everything we could do to get the most out of it. Because when I replay it, because I'll replay it again when the third one comes out.
It'll just
But
be
uh-huh.
right through the story.
I'm doing like straight through the main campaign.
To get
I'm not
this,
doing it.
yeah,
But anyway, but about 90 hours when you get to like these final maps and the final areas, and it's another big map, and you're just like, okay, here we go. There's
I
another 20
know.
hours of me trying to figure out where to go on this map.
There was a no. You guys play Ragnarok, God of War Ragnarok.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, we
I
got the
lo-
platinum.
yeah,
we platinum that game.
I loved that game, but and it was funny because some people's favorite part of the game was probably my least favorite, and that was when you get to that part about halfway through and you just have that huge open world. It was cool, but like it was
Oh
the kind of
God,
thing where I was just like, okay, like I'm kind of playing this game for the story. I'm not playing this game
exactly.
for it to be, just some massive open world RPG
Have
kind of
you
thing.
dabbled in its DLC? The what's it called? The
Yeah,
Yggdrasil
yeah,
or
I did. I played
we
through it enough to get to the end of the story.
oh cool
The
because I knew it had I haven't played it because literally it come out after we platinum the game and I already uninstalled it and crap like that, and then they announced this
Yeah.
random free DLC.
Mhm.
It's got story apparently, so we'll have to
It
play it.
does. Yeah,
Uh,
it was, and that was the ultimately the thing that got me to play because like I had already finished the game and it had been like a year since I had finished it. So like the story aspect of it got me
and
back
there's
into it.
enough
It's cool.
story to make it worth
Yeah, it was
messing
interesting,
with.
and it's not super long. I mean, I
Okay.
probably put like 2 to 3 hours in it, and
Oh,
most of
okay.
it's kind of like a combat kind of thing,
I
but
think it
it
is combat
is.
arenas, and it's kind of like a. I mean, I don't know how it plays exactly. I know how Ragnarok plays. I don't know how that DLC plays in particular.
Yeah, it's somewhat like a combat arena kind of. I wouldn't call it a puzzle, but kind of. It's
I mean, God of
hard to
War has
explain.
puzzles, so
But it is cool though. And for something short, like it does add some to
And
the
it
story.
works in some plot that actually matters, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a point of bragging for not Ragnarok, but God of War 2018, the other
Mhm.
one, is we got the platinum on that. That included beating
The
all the
Valkyrie
Valkyries
Queen.
and the Valkyrie Queen. Did you ever try?
I didn't even attempt. Those were ridiculous.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I did it on mine after about God 20 to 30 tries. I finally
The
beat the
Valkyrie
Valkyrie
Queen's the one
Queen,
everybody talks about.
and then
Hmm.
Drew tried because I did it. He's like, oh, I can do it too. So he gave up on it.
I got close a couple of times.
He gave up on it, but my skill is one of those things like I've never been better at playing video games than I was when I beat it on for me. And then for
Hmm.
Drew,
And we're not good at video
yeah, we're
games.
not like get good.
I'm
Like
not either.
but it was one of those things where like I was the best I've ever played at video games. I peaked. I
Mhm.
was like back in my teenage years I reverted because I beat his on my first try because I had the
Dang.
strategy down and I was like but I felt like, Mr. Miyagi kind of like I had the headphones on, and as soon as I heard the noise, because I couldn't see her on screen, but I heard a noise, I was like, okay,
She
she's gonna
flies
dive at
off. She
me.
flies off
I'm
screen and
like,
comes back.
roll left, jump back, throw my axe, and then I could. She was coming at me again because she was like above you, and I was like, all right, dodge over here because I knew what I could hear the noise. I was
Just
just
lock
like,
into it.
Uh-huh.
oh, I was in
Yeah,
the
that's the nice
flow.
thing about headphones is being able to hear
Mhm.
like
We
what's
use
coming.
the Turtle Beaches
Well, the
religiously.
PlayStation's
Oh, the
is the Sony
the
the
Sony
Sony
brand,
Pulse
yeah.
Oh yeah,
headset.
the
Yeah,
PlayStation one.
yeah,
Hmm.
one of the best headsets ever. Yeah, there ain't no crazy no Valkyrie bosses. There's no crazy bosses in
There were
Ragnarok.
some.
Ragnarok just kind of goes straight through.
Ragnarok was much
Yeah.
easier to
Yeah,
get the platinum on.
yeah. Had those
Mhm.
The barbarians,
those graves, the
berserkers.
barbarian gravestones. Yeah, those had some tough
But
fights.
like, even fighting the
Oh
final
yeah.
one of that was nothing compared to the
Not
Valkyrie.
really.
I
No.
beat that one
Mm.
like second or third try.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
video games, I
Ragnarok.
love them
Man,
all day, every day.
we talked about. I mean, I can remember the line now, but you remember the two dwarf brothers.
Yeah.
So they're having like this will be Ragnarok spoilers for anybody listening. So
Yeah.
there's like this ongoing joke that who's the guy at the head,
Not
Oh,
Heimdall,
I
his
can't remember. Is
Mimir,
it Mimir?
Mimir,
Mimir, is having this ongoing conversation with one of the brothers throughout the
about
whole game.
riddles.
And it just keeps having this conversation, keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps happening. And you're just like, hey, why is he's like he's bugging the brother, and you think it's kind of a joke. It's been funny for a while. And
Mhm.
then at the end of the game, I don't have the line, but at the end of the game,
He's like,
one of
the
the
riddle is what gets bigger the more you take away.
okay,
And then Mimir's like, oh, I get it, a hole.
yeah,
Because you find out because the brother had died.
the other brother
Mhm.
had died.
And
And
you're
there's
just
like this
like,
incredible delivery near the end of the game. Like he turns what was a funny riddle, into a really hardcore delivery of the whole of his brother being gone at the
Yeah.
very
and it
end
just
of the
punched you
game.
right in the heart.
I was
And
like,
you can miss it.
you
It was
can miss because
optional to go finish
an
that
option. It's an
quest.
Uh-huh.
optional. No, you might have missed it. So I don't know,
Yeah.
but like it's like an optional thing with one of the brothers, and it's like it's funny. They turn a joke into like the most heartfelt moment I've seen in gaming in like a long time, and I was just like,
Mhm.
holy crap,
Heartfelt
what
and
did I
Yeah.
just see? It
profound.
was like so
Those
good.
games are so good for that.
Hmm. It's a great game. Hmm.
And they're
Yeah.
gorgeous.
I didn't even really like God of War before we played 2018. We played the 2018 one.
I played the original.
I've played them, but I was like, I get God of War or whatever. But then I got into the 2018 and then Ragnarok. I was excited for
Mhm.
Ragnarok.
But
Yeah.
you talk about Final Fantasy. Are you an RPG fan?
I think I got
Like,
it.
do you really like RPG
Um, it depends. I
up
mean,
top?
yeah,
It's
I
got the
love
symbol between
um
Anthem and Nino Kuni.
Yeah, Ragnarok's
like
good.
some of my favorite games of all time are RPGs. Knights of the Old Republic, Mass Effect, Oblivion.
So did you like Andromeda?
So weirdly enough, man, I only played about an hour of Andromeda. That was not because I didn't like it. It was just it was another case of one of those games that came
Too
out.
big.
I played it, everybody was trashing it, and so like I think that got into my head a little bit, and then I was just like,
I've,
well,
you you hear that now that people are going back to it. You hear these things after a couple of years later. They're like, it's not that bad. People
no,
relax. You know.
and when the Mass Effect Legendary Edition came out, and I
Mhm.
replayed through all of those, and I was like in such a mood to keep playing those that like I've been like, okay, I need to just go back and play Andromeda.
I've been
And
thinking
so
about it too.
I will eventually because I do love that kind of stuff. You know, the sort of where the choices that you make like kind of change the
Hope, yeah.
path of the story and stuff. But yeah, so I like RPGs. It really just depends on what it is. I mean, I like first person shooters. I like action adventure games.
You kind of like us. You play a little bit of it. Like the only thing we don't dabble in is like sports and racing. Probably it's kind of what we
Yeah.
don't dabble.
Yeah, I don't do sports and racing really. I love horror games too, though. I mean, I'm a big Resident Evil fan, so
Yep.
yeah.
So you can probably
Love
see it up
it.
there. He's got some Dead Space ones up there.
I mean, I love
I
Dead
do
Space.
see the
Yeah.
Dead Space. Yep, I see Dead Space. I've been thinking this whole time, wondering where you got that one from. Was that like part
eBay,
of
man. Just dig
eBay.
in. Like, sometimes
Steelbooks on eBay.
if you Google video game, not Google, if you go on eBay and search video game steelbooks,
Mhm.
the longer you scroll, you just got to keep scrolling, and you'll
Yeah.
just find obscure steelbooks.
What's
I
that?
have. You can't see it. I've got two of the Witcher steelbooks that are in
German.
that are in Polish.
Polish, yeah.
Oh man,
Is it
okay.
Witcher
Oh, I
one
see the
and
Dead. I see the Dead Space
Witch,
3 one. So
yeah,
man.
Witcher 2 and Witcher 3. No, Witcher 1. Witcher 1. I hadn't even played Witcher 1, but I have a Witcher
Mhm.
1 and a Witcher 2 steelbooks that are in freaking Polish.
And then right below The Witcher 3, there's Sephiroth in the fire. You see him?
Yep. So I
Yeah.
had, yeah, I mean, I have the Final Fantasy one. I have you have a Resident Evil one up there in the
Mhm.
corner. I have that one.
There's a Dark Souls one right there too.
Mhm.
Oh man.
I got a
Yeah.
bunch. I got some really rare ones I found. But I'm telling you, if you like, I want to buy some steelbooks today, eBay and scroll. But you got to scroll like wear your finger out, get deep into that list. You're going to find some
Maybe someone
obscure
who's
stuff.
had it up for sale for 3 years, and like, I just want to get rid of it. $10, free shipping.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because we do that
Man,
because
that's
I buy movie steelbooks. All right, I have a
Mhm.
vast movie collection.
Okay.
I had to buy, I had to get an app. Let me check real quick.
Collect all your movies. I've had to do that for vinyl records. I've had to do
There
that
you
for
go.
games too.
Yeah.
Just
So my movie collection, and it's not even fully updated because there's some movies I bought that I haven't scanned. But
mhm.
my movie collection is 950 movies.
Ooh.
But then I get steelbooks. So I did some math a little bit ago. My steelbook collection for my movies is 61% of my movies are steelbooks.
Oh, that's
I have
cool.
538 steelbooks.
Dang. I only have a couple movie steelbooks.
And some of them I've custom made.
Uh-huh.
Like
You got some customs
I
behind
got
you.
one behind me.
So we were doing it for the movie podcast. You can grab one and try to show them.
Yeah.
So our movie podcast, when we first started it, there was a guy we found who makes custom steelbooks. And we're like,
Mhm.
this is awesome. We're going to have him make us a custom movie steelbook for each of our episodes. Well, we did 2 of them, and the guy like retired from making steelbooks. So we got the first 2 episodes. That podcast just crossed 50 episodes. But when we have 2 custom steelbooks, so it kind of like went to the crapper for that one. But we do have these 2, and our buddy who makes movies, Jeff Wedding. We had
Mhm.
a custom steelbook made of his most recent movie, and
Oh,
we
nice.
kept one copy for us, and we sent him a copy of a steelbook of his own movie that was custom made.
That's really cool.
Yeah, he was like he almost cried when we gave it to
I
him.
bet.
Getting
It
a
was so
custom
cool.
one made, they're expensive.
It was like $60
Yeah.
for like an empty steelbook
But so
case.
if you listen to it's called Suspension of Disbelief.
Well, the name has
Mhm.
Our
changed.
first movie was Army of the Dead.
Okay.
And so our buddy Steve picked this one since it was his movie, and then I picked the back art.
This
And
is
the
great
dude
for
went out of
audio.
his way
Yeah.
and included internal art this of the podcast and a separate artwork.
And that's their
That
rating for
was
the movie in
really
there.
good.
And then our ratings for the movie.
Dude's a professional, like freaking thing.
Yeah.
Then he even did this
I don't know
for
why he
free.
stopped doing it.
He gave us a steel printout.
Yeah,
Oh,
that just
that's
came in the
rad.
package.
He just did
gave
that
us-
for free.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I wish he was still making. I've emailed him like once every like 6 months. He don't respond. He's like he got out of it completely.
He's out of it. He's like living off the grid somewhere.
Yeah, he was all the way in Spain.
Yeah.
I found him on Reddit, and he was shipping. He was making us custom steelbooks like $60 a piece. And that's including making them and shipping them from Spain. And they were in $60,
Good
and it was cool. I wish he was still
I
around.
think it's one of those things where I think the quality was so good that he kept being bum rushed by.
Oh, he
people
had
that
he had an Instagram thing that was like lit up, and I think he was like it was too much.
I think the
he
anxiety. of it.
Yeah. It probably just got overwhelming.
Yeah,
Which sucks because he does really good. But other people do good work too.
yeah. There's Masters of Steel right now. There's a
And
couple
Blue
of if you
Squirrel.
want anything. Blue Squirrel doesn't do
Mhm.
anything anymore. We're getting to the weeds on
Yeah,
steelbooks
sorry.
right now. But if you ever want a steelbook made for anything you do, I mean, get you a
Mhm.
cool like you can get like an Emerge steelbook with your album art on it
Yeah.
probably.
You could get that artwork we gave you that last time and get that printed on
Yeah.
it.
That's a good idea.
I don't know what artwork. Yeah, speaking of artwork, I don't know what we'll do this time because we didn't really play a game. I don't know if we'll
We
do
could
it.
just reuse that artwork, I guess, because we did the same. No,
Well-
we did something special with Clyde.
We did. We'll think of something. I don't know if you got any specific art requests. We'll have our artist make something. Because last time we had you with we played that game randomly.
Second
Yeah,
Extinction.
the dinosaur game. Yeah.
That ain't around no more.
Did
I
it
think
get
that-
taken off?
I don't know. Didn't that game die like right after we quit? Right after we played with you? I don't even know if I don't even know if it stuck around.
It probably did.
It was in like a early like game preview, wasn't it? And we played it. And we played a couple of sessions with you. So Blake did an art with like you and like a raptor.
Mhm.
And your album cover was behind you. You had some spotlights on you.
Yeah, I remember it. Yep.
All right.
Well,
I feel like we're
I did have one little question because you talked
Thanks,
about RPGs
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Do you prefer fantasy or sci-fi? Are you a swords and sorcery guy, or do you like guns and bullets?
like
And tech?
Cyberpunk 2077.
That was a good game. That's another game that I sunk a bunch of time into and then like didn't end up finishing it. But it really depends. I mean, like I'm a really big Star Wars guy, so I always really like the sci-fi stuff, but at the same time, like I like Final Fantasy and I love Lord of the Rings and I love
You like everything. See me,
you know,
I
yeah.
play it all,
I very much will do all of it.
I play it all, but I do lead more towards sword and sorcery.
Yeah.
Like I love
Gotcha.
Witcher 3. I
Mhm.
haven't played Cyberpunk. Same company,
Yeah.
same kind of quality, but I just haven't felt the need to like, I'm gonna jump into Cyberpunk this week. And that
Yeah.
again, Cyberpunk's gigantic. So it's hard to like take that leap into
Well,
Cyberpunk.
you say that like
Now they just announced Witcher 4. Will
Mhm.
I play Witcher 4? Will I play Witcher 4 before I play Cyberpunk? Maybe. You know,
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe. Yeah, Witcher 3 is still one that I need to play. I played it for like an hour and I did like it, but
Oh,
it's
bro,
one
Really?
where
it,
again,
it
I was just
it'll
like
be
I'm
like
overwhelmed
crack for
by it.
you.
That's
It's
one.
Oh,
addictive.
I know.
That's one you
I would
gotta
love
like.
it.
And even now, for now, do you have an Xbox Series X? Are you on the?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
when we played it before the One X come out. Okay, so we played a little bit, and then the Xbox One X came out, and they One X enhanced it, so it looked a
Yeah.
little better. They changed some of the menus, they enhanced the game a little bit. Then we played that version, played all the way through The Witcher. This is like all that's The Witcher 3, loved it. Like a year after the Series X came out, the Series X, they
Mhm.
enhanced Witcher 3 further.
Yep.
And I was like, I can't go back and play Witcher 3. And apparently it was
Yeah.
like a serious they weren't playing around. It was like a serious upgrade to Witcher 3 again for the Series X. So you'd be
Mhm.
playing the
Yeah,
pinnacle
and
version of one of the best RPGs ever.
that's what I need to do. I mean, that was actually the reason why I stopped playing Cyberpunk is because I put like 40 hours into Cyberpunk when it launched
Oh,
on
that's a bad
luck,
time.
luckily I had a Series X at launch and so
It helped a
it
little
was
bit.
it was bad, but it wasn't like I was able to play 40 hours of it and enjoy it and not
Yeah.
hate my time with it. But there was so much talk about, like, oh, we're gonna do the enhanced
Well, now,
Series
well,
X
well, you're,
version
you're
of it.
talking now, years later. Now it's Cyberpunk's at
Yeah.
its peak.
Right, exactly. And so at the time, I was like, okay, I've gotten pretty far. I'm going to put it down until the enhanced version comes out. And then the enhanced version took a lot longer to come out than I was expecting. And it was just one of those things where I just never
we're,
went back
we're,
to
we're
it.
talking
But
years later now. We're talking like
yeah,
you
and
you played it at launch. It's been what,
it
two or
did.
3 years?
Yeah, yeah. And Phantom Liberty is apparently like it even like changes the DNA of the base game. So
Hmm.
we'll see. Eventually I'll go back
I've
to
got
it.
uh, I've got the Cyberpunk Ultimate Edition on my Xbox wish list. I'm waiting for like the $20 mark, and I was like,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
maybe I'll bite at $20 for like the game and all its DLC and stuff like
Mm,
that. Will
it'll
I will
happen.
I pre-order Witcher 4 and get a steelbook? Yes, I
Oh yeah,
will.
of course, yeah.
Yes,
You
I
get it.
will.
Yeah,
What's
that'd
really
be
I
funny
sweet.
don't
when
buy we actually don't buy very many games because of Game Pass. The last two games we've purchased are Rebirth.
and
Rebirth came with two steelbooks, and then I had before
That
that,
one.
yeah, before that I got Horizon Forbidden West, and I hadn't even
Oh,
played it yet, but I loved Horizon Zero Dawn so much. Again, gigantic games. Forbidden West is even bigger. Haven't played it yet; it's too big.
mhm.
But I pre-ordered. I was like, I don't buy very many games, but I loved Zero Dawn, so I'm going to pre-order Forbidden West to show support to the company. And I got a steelbook. Haven't played it. That game's come
Yeah.
out, has DLC. Now it's PS5 Pro enhanced and all the other mess and all the other mess. Still haven't popped it into my PlayStation yet. Who knows when I'll
well,
find the time to do it?
another funny
Yeah.
thing, speaking of that, is we bought like the $150 $190 version of Sekiro
Oh
that
yeah,
came with a special
Oh
steelbook
yeah.
that's up there on that wall.
yeah. Sekiro has two steelbooks.
It has two steelbooks,
Mhm.
so he bought that, and then it came out. They're like, "Oh, it's one player only. It's really difficult. It doesn't play like the Dark Souls. It's a fast." And he's just like,
I'm too scared.
I'm too scared, so let me just sell my collection, keep the steelbook, but sell everything else on eBay to somebody who really wants the game.
Yeah.
I've never played Sekiro.
No, I've got a couple of the like I have the Mortal Kombat 1 collector's edition, because that
Oh
came out and
yeah,
it's got such a cool box and it's got the Liu Kang statue in it and it has a steelbook in it and I have the Spider-Man 2
oh
collector's
yeah.
edition with the Venom statue because
Very
I mean
cool.
I'm a big Spider-Man fan and
We used to do
I'll enjoy
statues
that.
too, but it was just like, man,
I-
where are we putting these things? We had a
No, and
bunch.
that's
I had the Horizon Zero Dawn with Aloy
mhm,
and her bow on the back of a dinosaur statue.
yeah.
I eventually got,
the
I stopped.
Stalker, I think it was.
Yeah, I
That's
stopped.
what
Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. We stopped getting statues because God, where do you put all these things?
That's exactly where I've gotten into. I barely got into it. I got into it enough to get those two collector's edition,
Hmm.
and then a couple of just like like more more budget kind of like PVC statues,
Yeah.
but it's the kind of thing where it's like, dude, you can get so into the weeds with this, and I've gone down the action figure road enough,
Oh no.
with
We
different
did that with
things,
the
and
Switch and with the amiibos.
oh yeah,
Both.
I have a lot of Zelda amiibos. That was
Hmm.
I targeted my amiibo kind of thing, but
Yeah.
now they're all in a box, like
Yeah.
it's
He did. Blake has some Pokemon amiibos he's
We
kept.
had a bunch. We got
oh
rid of
man.
all of them, but I kept all the Pokemon ones because I love Pokemon.
Yeah, when we moved and I had to box all this stuff up and realized how much I had, and then when it came time to start unboxing it, I was just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go the minimalist route this time when I set things up. But and then the cool thing is like I didn't get rid of any of it. So if like I change my mind, like I'll go into a box in a couple years and I'll be like, oh crap, I forgot I had that.
Yeah.
I've done that several times already.
Hand me that thing hanging right there because there's not a lot. This is kind of we call it a media room. There's gaming steelbooks behind me. My
Uh-huh.
work computer's to my right, but there is
Nice.
one thing I have hung on my wall that I think you'll appreciate here. If it's, let's see if it's thanks listeners, you want to be able to see this. This is albums that people have signed
Oh,
hanging on this little
nice.
thing right here.
Yeah, you
Gemini
got the
Gemini Syndrome,
Gemini
Demon Hunter,
syndrome.
12 Foot Ninja, Trapped. That's Fieldy. When Fieldy put out an album outside of
Oh,
Korn, his bass
yep.
album, was that Chevelle,
Parabel.
Parabel, was that
Dude.
Thank You Scientist? Was that all of them?
That's all.
Parabel. Yeah, that's a Parabel. That's a band we opened for years ago in
Oh,
Chattanooga.
really?
Hmm.
Man,
Yeah, with
thank you.
Kevin from Evans Blue.
Love him, dude. He's
Yeah.
the first guy, again, this is dorky, the first person that I ever like had written a message to in an online form like MySpace or something, just
Hmm.
like saying talking about asking him a question about because he was releasing a bunch of projects at the time. And I just messaged this guy ask him a question. He responded to me and answered my question and it was like, why this guy took the time to like
I know, man. That's so cool.
Parabel and Evans Blue, they're not that big. He was probably just a guy hanging out on my just a guy just like us on MySpace. So hey, this dude
Yep.
messaged me.
Yep.
I'll answer his question, but it was like the one guy time I ever messaged online. This dude like took the time to like answer my question about his music, and
That's awesome.
we've seen Parabo live one time, unfortunately. Not I say unfortunately because but what sucks is I like Evans Blue. It's great, but I really loved Parabel, and the Parabel's still around. But
But
when
he
we
had
but
just won.
he got his rights to the Evans Blue songs, so when we saw Parabel, the entire night they just played Evans Blue songs.
Oh,
And that was an exit in that he's like, oh, I was like, I get it, guys. Like, I like Evans Blue, but I wanted to see y'all. He played like one or like Conversation Ends and like one other Parabel song, and but the whole night, here we are back in music
Yeah.
again. But yeah, the whole night was Evans Blue songs, and I was like, cool, I guess this is kind of. I never seen Evans Blue live, so I guess it was something.
But that was kind of cool because the way he described it, he's even said on stage it was like a real like it was like a half filled exit in like
Mhm.
people were just chit chatting. He was talking to people. He's like, hey, "What's your name, Steve? What's your what's
Oh,
what's your song?"
they had no set that
Yeah,
night.
he didn't have a set list. He was just playing whatever people wanted to hear,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
and it's whatever he wanted to hear and whatever he felt was best in the moment.
yeah.
Hmm.
But it ended up being a lot of
And then
Evans
when it
Blue.
was done, he came off stage, shook everyone's hand.
Yeah, he did that thing where he like you've been to Exit In where he just like hit the
He
last song played.
hopped off
He just
stage.
like stepped off a stage and started talking to people.
That's cool.
Very cool.
Man.
Anyway, yeah, I want to show you that. I didn't mean to pivot off into music again.
No,
That's a
no, no.
cool
Yeah,
thing I
man. I'm
have.
glad you did it. That is really
That's cool.
cool.
Cool. Yeah. None of those. I don't know if any of those were the Thank You Scientist might have been in person.
I think that might have
Obviously, I
been.
haven't met Fieldy from Corn.
I think all those were when you special ordered the edition. They all signed with
Maybe
Demon
some
Hunter
of
and all
them.
that.
I don't know which ones of those were in person, but I have met a couple of people. But what are you gonna do?
That's cool, man. I like having that stuff.
I
I
have an
never,
emerge thing somewhere. I don't know if y'all signed. I don't know if y'all signed y'all's or not for
I
your
have a
first album.
couple
Did
of
y'all sign y'all's
things.
first album?
we do if you opened it there, like we would have there
Okay.
in person. Yeah, we didn't pre-sign it.
Yeah. I don't think 'cause I ordered whatever online
Oh,
thing you
okay.
put out. So
Well,
yeah, so I haven't.
bring it next time. We'll sign it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I have a couple of signed things. I have a dollar bill, a single dollar bill, because we were in line to
Is
get
that is
Lacuna Coil to sign stuff, and they took away my ticket. My in line ticket is going to have to sign the ticket because I didn't have anything. So I was like, I don't have anything. So I pulled out a dollar, and then all the members of Lacuna Coil signed a dollar bill for me.
I have an iPhone case for maybe that same night.
Yeah.
I had nothing. They took our tickets and it's in a box somewhere. So I don't have an iPhone anymore. This is freaking forever ago. In the back of
Mhm.
my iPhone case is the scribblings of all the Lacuna Coil on the back of that iPhone case. That's all
Oh,
I had.
nice.
I did the same thing. I had
Nice.
a Ryan Clark from Demon Hunter signed a dollar for me.
Yeah. I love
And
Ryan Clark. Talk about a vocalist, man. Woo, Ryan
And
Clark.
then I had a shirt that says, it was a plain white shirt. I still have it hanging in my closet. And it was just a shirt that says, "My mommy says I'm special." And we were at Riverfront Buzz, I think it was Buzzfest. And I stood in line and it says, "My mommy says I'm special." And then it said, and then Soil. They said, "And so does Soil." And they all signed it.
Oh, that's cool.
I have that
That's
hanging
funny.
up in
That's
my
really
closet.
cool. Yeah, I'm trying to, like gather more things like that now. Like if I can get set lists,
I have
now
tickets signed by
because
people, Seven Dust and stuff. And
you're in the
tickets.
same thing we are, where it's bands that might stop being. They're getting older, bands that might
Mhm.
stop being around. So you got to catch what you can and go do what you can, like you said, get stuff signed and get this stuff, not to sell it, but like to have for yourself,
Yeah.
for these
Yeah,
things to have.
that's what I'm trying to get to, just sort of like all my walls right now are just blank. And so I want to kind of have,
Oh yeah, fill
memorabilia
it
and
with that
stuff.
kind of stuff. Yeah, all your
Yeah.
vinyls. You get your vinyls. You take vinyls and get them signed by the band and stuff like that.
The only time I ever did was when I took the 3 days grace final to get it signed by Adam, but I need to take more of them.
I'm sure
Like
they
it's just
sign thousands of. It's like a whole. That's easy. That's an easy thing to. It's a kind of a worry about taking it to a show and it getting broke or something. But it's
well,
like I'm sure that.
that's my
Yeah,
thing is like I
yeah.
don't want to take it and then it get, like I had to hold it the rest of the night or something.
That's a big thing to be carrying around. I think
Yeah.
Blake went to go grab something. Something cool, I'm guessing. He just ran off. He didn't say anything. He just ran off. I don't know. He's
Just
going to go
ran
grab
off.
something cool. Man, I don't know. I think what else I got. I have some other stuff. I think I have, because those are like the ones I showed you are like the booklets on that thing. I
Mhm.
think I have some actual cases and stuff over here. I'm not digging out all the other crap to just show you all the cool stuff I got. I think I got some other stuff that are signed by bands to a couple of things that we signed. I got signed in person. Did you not find it?
Couldn't find what I wanted to find, but I have has two. I should have thought about it sooner. But I have a bunch of tickets from shows that we've been to, and I've had bands signed. But the only one I could find was Breaking Benjamin, and Ben signed my ticket.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's cool.
But
Yeah.
I thought I had more, but it's the only one I could find.
When did you run into Ben face to face?
I have to look at the ticket, but it may have been the same place I got my soil.
Maybe.
It,
I
it,
don't,
um,
I don't, I
it-
don't think I've ever met. I don't ever seen Ben
That's-
face to face.
Man, I haven't.
well, there's so many shows that because I had to prove to him because he didn't remember. Because a couple years ago we saw Tool at Bridgestone, and then a few months later we saw Perfect Circle, and he's like, "I've never seen a Perfect Circle live." I was like, "Yeah, we have. We were at Bridgestone." He's like, "No, we haven't." And I had to go. I like went through my tickets.
I
Like,
forgot
we have
that.
it right here. We went and saw them.
I don't forget that, man. It's a big deal.
It happens.
We've been to so many freaking shows.
They start to run together.
I wish
Yeah.
I would have went to. I don't know if you saw in Vegas back when Maynard's 50th birthday,
Oh yeah.
when he did all three bands at the same
Mhm.
night. Oh man, what a
Literally,
show that would have
Perfect Circle,
been.
Lucifer and Tool.
He did all three. Like they were just mixed. Members were mixing up. They were just playing fucking whatever, and he was just dancing around doing his Maynard thing. What a night that would have been.
That'd have been phenomenal.
All right, so we've crossed.
We've like the 3 hour mark probably.
Well, we've crossed a little over the 2 hour mark. I don't know how.
Yeah, man, this is like a Rogan podcast now.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. So we took a lot of your time. I guess I don't know if your wife's.
Yeah,
Like the door.
she's probably wondering where I am.
We're sorry about that. We're
No,
gonna grab some lunch.
not
This
at all,
has been-
man.
it's been a good time.
I like doing this, man. I'll come on whenever, man. I enjoy chatting with you guys.
Hopefully, it won't be another
3
3 years
Yeah,
something like
80
that.
another
What we'll
80
do,
episodes.
hopefully, what I wanted would be cool to do was if we get to play some what's it called, Night Rain? You said Elden Ring, Night Rain.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
play some Night Rain together or something like that.
And we
And
can
then
come on around the
and
time.
and eventually we'll do because we do episodes with our cousin that are because our online our for anybody if you ever want to look at it or anybody else our Twitch thing is Lock, Stock, and Three Smoking Controllers co-op endeavors. It's got its own
Okay.
art. It's our whole thing with our cousin. So we do episodes of that too with our cousin. Where our cousin comes on once every episode that ends in 5. He comes on and we do an episode talking about our co-op stuff. So
Mhm.
we'll do it. We'll jam some Night Rain if I'm saying the name of the game. Maybe it's not
I think
called
it's
Night Rain.
Night Rain, but like rain is an REIGN.
Yeah,
Like
so we'll
rain.
play
Yeah.
some Night Rain, and we'll definitely whenever. Who knows the time frame for that? But we'll figure
Yeah.
that out, and then
No,
we'll
that'd
have
be great.
we'll have you come back on, and we'll just talk with. We'll have you and our cousin jump on too. We'll all just jam on some Night Rain for a little bit,
And
Sweet.
if you
and do a podcast about it.
if you do follow through with that music thing, the music podcast or whatever, let us know. We'll promote it.
Yeah,
or,
we'll promote that.
Oh,
or
I
if you
appreciate it.
ask
Yeah,
nicely,
no,
we
I
might
definitely
edit
will.
it.
I'll for sure let you guys know. I'll keep in touch with you.
Yeah, well, we'd like to hear it.
If you do it, I know you're busy and you want to play video
No,
games.
I want to
so-
do it. I want to do it. I really, 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 really,
But
really
just
wanna do it.
the few like dabblings of stories you've shared here make a podcast. So I mean, it's like that's gonna be the favorite part of everybody's podcast. Everybody who listens to this, their favorite part are going to be the stories that you were telling. I guarantee it.
Well, cool, man. I hope so, man. I'm just thankful that you guys asked me to be on, man. This is a lot of fun.
This is so much fun for us too. We can go on. We all got stuff to do. We can go on and on. We can
Yeah,
we hit some low. We hit some low, and then we grab something else, and then here we are. We're off again. So we're gonna cut it off here and let you go on for you get in trouble with the wife and you got family in town. We didn't tell anybody. We grabbed you. This will come out in a couple of weeks.
Today's
Probably.
the
This is
21st.
This is the week of Christmas that we've grabbed you. So
It
the
is a week.
22nd.
So we've grabbed you, pulled you away from your family on it's not Christmas Day. We didn't do that. We're not doing that to nobody, but we have grabbed you on the week of Christmas to knock this out before we get into the new year.
Thank you guys for asking, man. I'll come on anytime.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate having you. We'll let us know when there's new music. We played a live again on the podcast like the week you put it out. We played a live again. We promoted the video we've done. I mean, we mentioned it
I know. I see you guys all are always sharing stuff, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think it's on the podcast before that every episode we shout out the band. We thank you for the song, but I also want to thank you. This isn't face to face, but thank you again in person, quote unquote, for letting us letting us use Letting Go for the intro. Man. I mean, he said it's an easy ask. It's no problem. It didn't hurt, cost anybody anything. We appreciate that. Man. We always laugh saying it like on the end of the podcast, or like, if you start the podcast, you listen to Letting Go and you stop the podcast, that's fine. It's the best part of the podcast anyway.
No, man. Well, I'm just glad you guys
appreciate that.
Sweet. Awesome.
All right. So we're going to keep in touch. Hopefully play some whenever Night Rain comes out. But it's great. It's been great talking to you. This has been a blast, man. It's been really great talking to you.
Sure, man. Sweet, guys. Well, Merry Christmas. Have a good week.
New Year.
See ya. Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.